Hello there, hello there everybody. How are we? Are we well? I do hope so. Why isn't chat showing up on screen? And why am I doing a vaguely northern accent? I don't know. Anyway, how are you all? How about if I turn... Oh, there it is. Chat box. There we go. Oh, thank you. Yes. Hello. We're going to be on with No Justice in just a second. Don't worry. For various bits of content. It should be fun. Actually, I'm not sure fun is the word. There'll be some laughs in there, I'm sure, but also some serious, you know? Also some serious things. I'm Scottish, don't ask that question. It's a question that needs to be asked, though, and so few people are asking it. What is this? Birmingham final boss. Oh, for God's sake. Thank you to NYC. See, now, there are very few places in the world that I will not take giant rat bants from. Because Birmingham, we'll get onto it, trust me. We've been going through some issues in terms of our rodent friends. And, yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. But you are NYC, guy. A city so profoundly interlinked with rattery that there is literally a cartoon where a rat becomes so large and sophisticated it raises 4 creatures of a different species in your city. Like I say, there are not many places that don't get to like dunk on us for this one. You do happen to be from one of those places, though. So wind your neck in, is all I'm saying. But also, the rats are taking over, so yeah, that's just true. It's a fact. I didn't realise I'd had orange juice a second ago, and I didn't realise that it makes your mouth slightly clammy when you talk out loud. That's never been a thing I've encountered before. I've never needed to project my voice after having had orange juice before. It's never been an issue. It's not an issue. It's literally not an issue. Oh. Where are we? Yes, and don't forget, everybody. Do not forget that you can hit the follow button and subscribe and do bits messages and super chats and become a member and all of that jazz. These are all things that one can do if one is interested. But maybe one isn't interested. I don't know. I'm not your fucking dad. Or am I? I'm not. Oh, for God. Twitter is so shit. It won't let you send the fucking link unless you do it like 3 or 4 fucking times. That's... Oh, God, I hate... Elon Musk is such a bellend. Can we just say that? Look, I know that gets said a lot now. But it's never been more true, and it needs to be said much more often. He is an absolute ring piece of a human being. But he's definitely getting us to Mars next Tuesday, honest. Fucking hell. Also, have you noticed how...
Get some help.
He definitely should, Michael, yes. Have you noticed how he's sort of disappeared now? He was up Trump's. He was up Trump's arse not that long ago. He was basically living at the White House and at Mar-a-Lago, and now all of a sudden, nowhere to be seen. It's very interesting, isn't it? Hello there, Helena. Do you know where Elon Musk has disappeared to?
Hopefully hell.
Well, eventually, sure.
Oiled like a
But
baby
as far as we're aware, he's still alive. But
we can but hope.
But yeah, but he has rather than now. I was just chatting with my my chatterinos, and saying that like him and Trump were basically joined at the hip until he lost in Wisconsin, and now all of a sudden
Tesla stocks. The
disappeared.
Tesla stocks.
Oh, the stonks have been so fun. Honestly, there's been it's a point I've made before, but the kind of cultiness of the Trump people, to see them go like, you know, when the stocks absolutely crashed, money doesn't really mean anything. Who cares about money? It's just ones and zeros. It's numbers on a screen. And then the next day when he cancels the terrible thing and it goes back up, art of the deal, biggest thing ever. And now they're all like, why are they red again? Why has it all gone red? What's happening? Like they're just so confused by everything. It's amazing.
And all of these same people, like I remember Benny Johnson was the one who did that very somber piece to camera, like, you know, everyone experiences loss of money, you know. It's one of those things that makes you stronger as a human being. Yet when the stock market was going like slightly down when the Democrats were in government, he was like, Kamala Harris needs to come out and apologize today. People are losing money now. And I'm just like, I mean, obviously the Democrats would do the same thing in the other direction, of course. But it just shows you the level to which it's all just fucking team sports to these people.
It really is. It's the footballification of politics.
Indeed.
But I'm slightly loving the fact that China is just dunking on them now. Did you see this?
I know.
This is literally the Minister of Foreign Affairs of China, right?
Stop it.
Just posted, just meme dunking on them now. It's beautiful.
Incredible.
Absolutely. I mean, what a timeline. What an amazing timeline. I mean, I'd say a good timeline, but unfortunately, Benjamin Netanyahu also had a secret meeting with Tim Pool in the White House.
I mean, to be fair, if anyone was going to be, if I hate Netanyahu, but if he's going to be alive, at the very least, you can subject him to Tim Pool.
True. And if there's anyone who's good at covering up crimes, in his case, his baldness, it's Tim Pool. So he can teach Benjamin Netanyahu a thing or two about covering up unsightly stains. That's an unfortunate way of putting it.
Did Chen Weihua get banned on Twitter?
I have no idea. It wouldn't surprise me because, you know, free speech, comedy's legal again.
Oh, Chen Weihua hasn't been banned on Twitter.
No, okay.
I want to see some meme posts from him.
Yeah, by all means, absolutely. Thank you, some random.
Literally, the latest tweet from him is: "Can anyone give a full list of leaders who are kissing Trump's ass as Trump claims?"
Well, yeah. Oh, that's a brilliant one. Literally, we've got a list of 75 countries who are like begging us for a deal. Can we have that list? Nope. No. But they definitely are. You wouldn't know them anyway. They go to a different school, so like, you know. But they're definitely true. It's Botswana land is one of them. Like, it's just embarrassing to say. And he's so shit at this. Like, it's an obvious pump and dump, right? And it's an obvious piece of market manipulation that they've earned billions from. But trying to like pass it off as anything else in this odd like a Trumpian world. Or I suppose all he has to do though is just convince the other wankers that it's true. Or at least convince the authorities they've accepted, like Tim Pool and Benny Johnson, and they'll just tell them the lie. They've got their own lie machine where you can just feed in any old shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Captain Coconut, for the £10. Breaking news: the new Universal theme park will have the Brexit experience, a roller coaster that continuously goes downhill. At the lowest point of the ride yeets everyone into the sea. We could also have it as the S&P experience for the roller coaster.
Oh yeah, no, it has been amazing. Yeah, up and down, up and down. Honestly, masterful gambit.
I mean, it is funny for Keir Starmer to be absolutely waxing lyrical about this theme park. And I'm like, sure, I'm glad that there's a theme park, but like when you've got so few wins as an administration, and when our planning system is so shit, you're making public displays of the fact that a theme park got planning permission. I mean, it says the kind of the scale of the ambition.
It really does. Although, again, not to make it all about America, because we will go on to British stuff, but at least he didn't lose a trade war to penguins. He can at least he can chalk that one up as a W by comparison. Because the penguins, they stayed the course. It's almost like they don't actually trade anything, and that's not the point of penguins. But he put the tariff on them. They ignored him. They said, "Fuck you, Trump." Okay, we're not engaging in your nonsense. We're going to carry on and do our own fucking thing. And Trump backed down. The penguins won. Massive penguin dub.
Can someone do a mock-up of the "Do Nothing Win" Xi Jinping meme as a penguin?
Yeah, exactly. Some extremely happy feet on those islands tonight. Birds aren't real, Kev. Well, penguins aren't proper birds anyway. They don't fly, so they fuck off. They're not birds. Yeah.
So thank you, Dr. Rapper Band for the 5 gifted. Thank you, Jack Mellor for the 4.99.
The Jack Mellor.
The Jack Mellor indeed. Could you give a shout out to Rory Payton? He's a Green Socialist standing in St Anne's Haringey local election today. Has a good chance of winning. Yes, the Haringey Greens. They got pretty close to winning the last round against just David Lammy's constituency, and fuck David Lammy.
Haringey. I said that to Jack on Twitter today. That's how I spend my afternoons. Trolling,
I point out this.
Trolling Jack Mellor on Twitter.
Also, I like to say that I'm enjoying this tweet from Shen Weihua, which is again from Trish Regan, saying that we can live without cheap Chinese crap, and markets are rallying, further isolating China. He just responded with, "Says trash Regan."
Okay, he's going to get banned. Certainly, yeah, because comedy isn't legal. Thank you, Some Random Geek, for resubscribing. Thank you, Nellis D, for subscribing. We were on a hype train and I totally missed it. I was enjoying penguin-based bands. Apologies. And thank you, Carl Brown, for gifting a membership on YouTube. Much love. Don't forget you can give us both money. And we're going to need it in this trying time because of all of the chlorinated chicken we're going to have to eat. Or something. I don't fucking know. Anyway, talking of the Green Party getting elected, segue, did you see the greatest advert in the history of mankind for why you should vote Green?
I did.
Absolute
see it,
belter.
yeah.
Absolute. Like literally, just imagine this, right? I know you're allowed 2 minutes for a party political broadcast. Greens, you don't need it. Just have what follows is a party election broadcast on behalf of the Green Party.
I mean, I would, the Green vote went up in my old patch. I'd probably still be a Labour MP had the Green vote not gone up. It only went up by a couple of thousand, but that was enough to finish me off. But
so actually, the answer to my question is vote Green. What do you get?
You get rid of John Ashworth.
Vote Green, May 2nd. That's it. Boom. Done. It's straight in, straight out. Everyone's back to the fucking telly programme and they're voting Green. Perfect.
Can I vote to Green to get Jonathan Ashworth off the TV?
No, that's not allowed. You can get rid of them from Parliament. Well, you can get rid of them from the Commons, but you've one of two options. Either they become a Lord, and so you might as well not have bothered in the first place, or they were on TV more than they've ever been when they were actually in Parliament.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it.
Like, and in the words of David from Big Brother 6, they're like genital warts. They just won't go away.
Talking of genital warts, did you see our old friend Fabricant is in the Big Brother house?
He is in the Big Brother house, is he?
He is, yeah. He and his stupid fucking hair. Along with Mickey Rourke and Jojo Siwa.
Jojo Siwa meeting Michael Fabricant for the first time.
Oh, amazing. Like, it's like, it's two people you just think of totally separately. They occupy two completely, like, different hemispheres of your brain. You think they can't ever meet. Why would they meet? In what circumstance? But yeah, it's amazing. And of course, Mickey Rourke being homophobic to Jojo Siwa. Yeah, I mean, okay. I wasn't not expecting that. Anyway, fucking weird shit. And also a RuPaul drag queen person in like crazy ass makeup. It was a sight to behold. I'll not watch it every night, certainly, but I'll peek in to see how he's getting on. Good to see he and the hair haven't split up after he got voted out. Good to see that relationship is sticking strong. It's nice.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even without the parliamentary salary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, he wasn't with them for the money. Okay, the hair was there for the love of the game, and I appreciate that.
True.
Anyway, in terms of content, we've got a real mixture, right? So we've got the pest and stuff. If you want to do that, I do want to mention the Birmingham bins thing briefly, but then we've also got there's an interesting one. If you're up for it, you might not be. Our old friend, and I'll say friend in quotation marks, Samuel Leeds. Do you remember him? The horrible landlord prick. He's interviewed Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah, we talked about this afternoon where he started shitting on Gary Stevenson. It was very funny.
Yeah. Oh, have you already watched it then?
I've watched the bit where he mentions Gary Stevenson
On stream?
on Navarro.
Oh, on Navarro. Okay. Do you want to watch it on stream now, or not nationally right this very second, but or not? It's up to you.
I mean, I think I've had my fill of Andrew Tate already, and Samuel Leeds.
Fair enough. No, they are both.
We played 2 minute-and-a-half long clips, and I've had my fill.
That's absolutely fair enough. Okie doke then. Well, I'll just mention the Birmingham strikes thing. It's so
Update
annoying.
us, Kev. Update us.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot to update, unfortunately. But what there is the front page of the BBC homepage, right? Typical stuff there. Trump being mental. More stuff about Trump being mental. Oh, the UK government just doing some cheeky austerity. Always good. Oh, what's that? Union buses hold up Birmingham bin deal. BBC told. Now, I got hold of this story from the BBC about 8 o'clock this morning, so over 12 hours ago, and it's still on the front page of the BBC's fucking front page here, right? Which it would never be unless it was a massive story, really. Albeit that just above it is Michelle Obama dismisses divorce rumours. So maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe they are just publishing shite now. Either way, this is one of the most shitty, egregious examples of like government client journalism smearing any kind of leftism that I've seen in a long time. Just the title alone. So it's definitely the union bosses that have held this deal up, is it? According to who? Should we take a look?
And also, I mean, first of all, rewind. Union boss. I don't remember the last time I elected my boss.
Well, exactly. Well, they do this. They'll say the Labour Party's union bosses or whatever, and you're like, motherfucker, they've got demonstrably no power over the Labour Party, whereas you are actually run by your donors.
Literally,
it's so embarrassing.
You never talk about the Conservative Party's donor bosses, do we? And then the union leaders, anyway. They're elected representatives. They're not in charge.
Yeah. So the person that they quote rather extensively is some random nameless prick. Literally just says, person with knowledge of the negotiations. The fuck does that mean? Who is this person? This is nothing. You have nothing. Okay? They quote this person extensively and say, oh, it's definitely the union bosses. At no point during this article do they mention that the council only wanted, initially, for the first 3 weeks of this strike, to have 1 meeting a week. So, you know, there are 7 days in a week. They wanted to have 1 day of negotiation in any week. They wanted to get paid. Council. They wanted to get paid for 7 days. Council. You know, but they didn't want to actually do their job. Yeah, a Labour council, Labour government, and yet apparently somehow it's the bosses, quote unquote, of the union that are doing this. This isn't journalism. This isn't reporting. This isn't balanced. You are shitting on the people who pay your fucking wages, BBC, and you're going to lead to the eventual privatisation and your sacking, you dopey bastards. Look, it's so embarrassing. This isn't news. This is nothing. Gossip. And yet it's been on the front page of your fucking website all day. This is client journalism.
I mean, maybe. The only thing I can think that would get them out of this is if the reason why it's been on the front page is because people keep clicking on it because motherfuckers in Britain be obsessed with the bins.
Well, true, but I don't care so much if the people are clicking on it because this is manufacturing of consent. Is all this is. There's no truth value to any of this.
Check the most read. Check the most read. If you go back to the main page of BBC News, because it'll give you a list of the most read stories, right? Because if it's not in the top read, then you know that they're not pushing it because it's popular. They're pushing it to manufacture consent.
Where's most read? Where would I even find that?
Maybe you have to go to the bottom of the actual article itself. So it usually just give you.
Oh, okay. So go to the article. Oh, most read. Obama, then penguins, not those penguins, then detectives pretend to work from home, AI, Elon Musk, Trump signs a thing, Cabinet Office, King and Queen, number 8. It's number 8. Been there all fucking day.
Jesus, yeah, that's some obvious finger being tipped on the scale.
Yeah, no, this is embarrassing. So, and again, a Labour government, Labour council.
With all these mutants.
Why are they still affiliated? Can I literally just ask that? What good is you giving money to these people? Including, and I went through this with my sort of little rant towards, not rant, but piece of advice towards Sharon Graham, the General Secretary of this union. You gave money to people who are now in the cabinet. You gave money, ironically, to the fucking paymaster general. Now, technically, the pay disputes with the local council, but there's a certain ironic poetry to that. You gave £10,000 to the man who's now the national paymaster general, and you can't get them to fucking move an inch for you. Why are you giving them money? Why are you giving these fucking ghouls money? Now, to be fair, most of the people they funded were the left of the party. What's left of that, anyway. But even so, you gave £500,000 to the Labour Party. For what? What have you gained from that? It's embarrassing, honestly. You're essentially paying to remain in an abusive relationship.
Exactly. And she said she would be focusing heavily not on Labour Party electoralism. She said in her leadership election for Unite that she was going to focus on jobs, pay, and conditions. And I'm like, well, your alignment with Labour, how the fuck well is that doing for your jobs, pay, and conditions?
Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous. Thank you, Pond Scum Pod, for raiding. Much love.
Hey, that's an excellent podcast name. You know, I will let the fact that you're a podcast slide for how excellent.
It's got pod in the name, so instantly I'm thinking like you've got to be wary. You got to be wary on that one. It's like, you know, unfortunately, if you see something with the suffragette colours now, it's a shame because the suffragettes were in many respects good people.
Like a baby
a lot of racists, but they're also people who fucking met Lenin and stuff. There's all kinds of crazy people. Either way, historically speaking, on the better end of things. But if you see that colour scheme now, it's red flag city.
Literally, the 3 hearts on a Twitter handle, instant block.
Yeah. Thank you, James Holmes, for gifting 5 memberships. Much love. Anyway. I just thought I'd sort of bring you up to date with that. The only actual sort of update on the ground is that the police are now getting far more physical. With what they were doing was slow walk past. So you do a picket line outside of like the depot where the bin collection vehicles are, and you're not supposed to block the exit, right, to actually physically stop them. But it's a public thoroughfare. It's a pavement. So, you can walk slowly across the entrance to that, which you're perfectly entitled to do as a citizen. And that's what they've been doing. Obviously blocking the fucking vehicles, which is what they've been able to get out. Like, they know what you're doing, but technically it's legal. Whereas the police
it's the just up oil tactic, right?
Yeah, basically, be disruptive in a way that's technically legal, but in a way that technically the police can just sort of push you to one side when they need to. So that's basically
malicious
what they've been
compliance.
Doing. Yes, indeed. And so more bin collection teams have been able to get out, and we've seen collections. We actually had a collection at my collection spot, and whilst I felt good that it was gone, because it was getting quite. It was a big pile, and it's been a sunny few days, man. It's been fucking reeking. So I was happy that it's gone, but I also thought it's sort of scab labour, you know? And, like, in collecting my bins, have I participated in scab labour? Have I, but how would I stop that? Well, I'd have to stand at the bottom of my road, waiting possibly for a collection that might not arrive. Then when they get there, say, are you Unite members and the strike is over? And if they say no, I then have to collect my bins and take them back to my house. So I don't then... like, that's not feasible, you know?
Being on bin watch, yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah.
the thing is, what I find quite funny, there was a private bin collection company that's been posting things on TikTok, going super viral on TikTok about how they're cleaning up Birmingham. And if there's two things that the Conservatives hate, it's trade unions and Muslims.
Yes.
And every single like private bin worker who was scabbing by doing the collections, I think it was being done gratis. Actually, I think they were doing it just as a community service to bring up their profile, right? They were all Muslims. They're all Muslims. Conservatives are now just in this gigantic fucking pickle where they both have to say that scab labour is good, but also have to try and admit that Muslims really care about their communities, because they do. They really do care about their communities.
Yeah.
And about,
Honestly,
it's not an enclave. They just like being part of the community.
well, exactly. Honestly, as a person who lives in a city that, according to Fox News, is 100% Muslim, but it's actually about 20% Muslim, which is still far higher than the national average, but, sort yourselves out. Muslims care far more than non-Muslims, I've tended to find. The people I've found who've been most disrespectful to the community and the general welfare of things have largely been... I'm not allowed to say the C word, am I? White people. I'll just say white people.
Caucasians.
Yes, Caucasoids.
Literally the C word, Caucasian, is fine.
Yeah. Now, of course, you can get white Muslims, but generally speaking, you know where I'm going with that. The non-Muslim whiteoids are some of the worst people. Literally, and you can see that in the fucking thing. You've got Muslims going around trying to clean the city up, and you've got white people fly tipping industrial waste. Like, I'm sorry, lads, it's not really the Muslims that are the problem.
I think that's the thing, is you wonder why like the left and Muslims have formed some kind of like political alliance, First of all, because we're internationalists. Second of all, because we're the ones who aren't racist. And third of all, because we're the only people left in the fucking neoliberal society who believe in, community and collectivism.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's mad. It's in the same way that, like, why are women turning away from the right? Oh, I don't know. Could it be you denying them basic civic rights? Basic
Literally,
healthcare?
oh my god. Like so many women from the right just complaining about misogyny, and I'm just like, I go back to that 2017 article from like, I think it must be Jezebel or something, where it's just like alt-right women are getting mad about how alt-right men treat them horribly, and just repost the same screenshot, the same article with Lauren Southern's face from 2017. It's not changed. Like, they're just misogynists.
Yeah. Like, what did you... the trad wife thing isn't just like a cool aesthetic where you can grift from. Like, it's a real thing, and it means you don't get to leave the fucking house. Like, it's not like it's a cool thing for you to post on TikTok. If it ever becomes the social norm, or indeed the law, heaven forbid, you're fucked.
Literally. I'm like, I wonder how many trad wives end up in abusive relationships because the kind of men that they attract are just giant misogynists.
Well, I mean, I don't know the specifics necessarily, but I've heard that Lauren Southern herself ended up in such a situation. There's a reason that her husband dragged her all the way to Australia, away from all her support networks.
Really, because they're sick. It's terrible. I mean, I feel very sorry for her.
It's awful.
Often I feel sorry for her. Yeah.
But I mean, like, we did try to fucking warn you. We can't say you weren't warned. And I'm glad she's out of that now, albeit that she's still a fucking right-wing piece of shit. So she's learnt nothing, naturally. Although, what's that old thing about it's difficult to teach someone... Well, no, it's difficult to inform someone whose meal ticket relies on them not understanding or something,
Yeah, it's possible to get someone to understand something that their income relies on them not understanding,
Indeed. Yes. Thank you, Lord Fritos, for resubscribing. 55 months. Honestly, you're fucking ill.
Sorry, Jim Speak says, her vows included, do you take this leopard to eat your face?
And it sounded like they do, but their face was muffled at the time. But yeah. Anyway, let's Peston this bitch, because we've got an amazing array of people on Peston from last night.
Oh, we really do.
You've got the current Prime Minister, technically. Not Morgan McSweeney, who was the actual de facto Prime Minister. No.
We have the de jure Prime Minister.
Yeah. And we've got Steve Scaramucci, the Mooch. The very, very, very briefly Trump's press correspondent for was it 17 days or something? And then got fired for bullying a journalist and now pretends to be anti-Trump. Amazing. And of course, Fagash Hitler himself, fucking Farage, who is going to become Prime Minister because he's the only one out here who's been like, no, we need to nationalise this shit and fucking water companies should go bankrupt. Fuck them.
Did you see? I posted a segment about it today because we watched it yesterday. Did you see that Kemi Badenoch is in fourth for preferred Prime Minister, actually sixth, because she's also less popular than nobody or don't know.
Nobody. We'd literally prefer nobody to occupy that position. You know what? This is the only time I've ever felt truly connected to Kemi Badenoch, because I still remember the statistic that literally the people of Britain, when polled, preferred silence to the Birmingham accent. So you know what, Kemi? I feel ya. I know what it feels like to be preferred nobody to you. Yeah.
I mean, do you know who also feels the same way as Kemi? Because people prefer no one to them.
Probably Keir Starmer.
Every other party leader, literally every party leader.
Hang on. So the number one is nobody.
Literally, they were polled by YouGov. 37% said nobody. 13% said don't know. That's half of the people surveyed either completely objected
I can at least
or couldn't tell the difference.
If you don't know is one thing, because maybe you just don't look into it and you think there's no real difference, whatever. But literally nobody. I would prefer no person in that position, that phenomenally important position, than any of the current candidate of fucking pricks.
Literally, second place. So second place behind nobody on 21% was Sir Keith Starver QC.
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
And then at third place with 16% is Nigel Farage.
Okay.
At fourth place with 13% is don't know. Fifth place is Ed Davey at 7%, and coming up in last place with 5% in sixth is Kemi Badenoch with 5 whole percentage points.
Oh, did you see his buy British thing? The little weird song he put out. Oh god, he's such a fucking mentalist. I love Ed Davey. I hate his politics, and I hope he gets nowhere near the positions of power ever again. But I love the absurd, unhinged aspect he has to him. It's always cringe, but he doesn't care, and I kind of appreciate that he's got the kind of balls to the wall shamelessness. He will just do anything. Honestly, he should start on OnlyFans. It'd be hilarious.
Have you seen that? I mean, speaking of the Liberal Democrats, have you seen that they're almost ahead of the Tories in the polls?
Yeah, no, I did see there was the Tories within the margin of error.
Yeah.
Of being behind the Lib Dem. Kemi Badenoch, I mean, the Tories were already dying anyway, because no one, basically, if you're a Conservative or a far rightist, you're with Reform. No one gives a fuck about the Tories anymore. They're a dead brand. And Kemi Badenoch, I mean, I do the joke of who is this person? But the statistics you just gave us prove that it's not even really a meme. Most people don't know who she is, or if they're ever exposed to her, don't fucking like her. She's just an awful person on every level. A person who gets homophobically angry towards sandwiches. That's a weird fucking person. No one wants you to become Prime Minister. Not even Tories, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to step on Reform's toes, but they can't do it because Reform are better at it.
Yeah.
And when they try and talk about real issues, it's just, have you thought about the impact on hospices of your national insurance rise? And also, what about the Chagos Islands? And I'm just like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Genuinely, who cares?
Yeah. Absolutely. At least when the Lib Dems obsess about Brexit, their voters do care about that. No, and Tories don't really give a fuck about the Chagos Islands. It's a nice clickbaity, get the gammon angry headline in the Daily Mail, one Sunday. That's it. That's all that story ever was. And they'll bang on about it. And then, like you said, the other thing is taxes. Oh, you can't put taxes on businesses. When literally everyone in the country's like, why aren't you taxing businesses, you cunts? Why aren't you taxing rich bastard? Fucking Elon Musk owns the earth. And not only are we giving him £180 million a year, literally, in subsidies, you're also going to take away the 2% tax he pays. You know, I get my fucking pay slip, and it fucking shows me I pay more than Elon Musk, you cock. Like, and yet the Tories are out here, like, shooting themselves in the balls, just being like, nah, fuck it, rich people shouldn't have to pay any tax. Ha-bah! Okay, well, enjoy your fucking death. Enjoy it. You've earned it.
Yep, I think they'll probably end up having to replace her sooner rather than later.
Yeah, there's no way she fights the next election. Not a chance.
Yeah, the question is, how much damage can she do to the Tory brand between now and then? Hopefully lots.
From the Tories' point of view, it's probably better that she's so unknown. Because it's like, if she was more high profile, they'd probably lose more support. So just being an absolute non-entity is better for them. They can probably cobble together some kind of like fucking vote at the next election. Maybe. But either way, I think it's going to be a hung parliament. I can't see it being anything other than that.
No, yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a hung parliament or a Labour majority, most likely.
Yeah.
Just because we might end up with a point where Labour get like 28% of the vote, something like that, and then still get a majority, which would be a crazy result, because you got like 28, 23, 22. That still works out Labour majority government territory.
Yeah, potentially. Although again, I just think Reform will get enough seats that will make it virtually impossible for any one party to have the majority. And then it's do the Tories and the Reform Party want to get in bed together? That's the big decision, I think. Or Labour and Lib Dems, maybe. You know.
Well, but I mean, if there is going to be a hung parliament, I think you're right. It's likely it'll be a big on traffic light coalition. I think it would end up being.
Yeah. Indeed, yeah. No, Marcus, I'm not getting paid. I was playing the role of a person, an ordinary British person who gets paid and then has to pay tax at vastly increased rates than Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos pays, and being angry about that fact. It's just you believed that I was me because I'm such a great actor. Thank you, James Holmes, for gifting memberships. Much love.
Hello and welcome. Coming up tonight, what's the Prime Minister's plan to protect us from Trump's market mayhem?
He doesn't have one!
I will be 100% surprised if he says anything of substance. We watched the whole ass fucking liaison committee on stream on Monday, and
hang on, that's an unfortunate freeze frame. No,
Ask.
Sorry, go on.
And my fucking god, Keir Starmer does not have anything in his fucking head. It's crazy they let him out and do interviews, because his entire interview style is repeat talking points from the election that everyone's bored of already, and then go and say, let me go and check and get back to you, which is code for let me ask Morgan McSweeney and Pat McFadden what my actual answer to this question should be.
Yeah, he hasn't been programmed with whatever that answer is, so he just defaults to his, that would be an ecumenical matter. Yeah.
Literally, I was likely from the fucking iRobot. I'm sorry, my responses are limited. You must ask the right questions.
Indeed.
Keir Starmer. Does Nigel Farage really approve of the turmoil caused by his friend, the American president? He'll tell me.
Why is he doing the raised eyebrow in his resting bitch face? That's weird. Has he had a stroke? The fuck is wrong with him?
And
Are Starmer's hopes of negotiating a trade deal with Trump realistic? His former aide, Anthony the Mooch Scaramucci, knows Anushka and Screeny will reveal whether Trump's trade war makes any sense.
Yes, I'll be looking at whether the president's partial climb down means he's given up on his dream of reviving manufacturing in America.
And throughout the show, we have Gavin Barwell, whose life when working for...
Well, no, but the jobs are definitely going to come back, because it's good that he put the tariffs on. That noise again. It's good that they put tariffs on, but it's also good that they've been paused for 90 days. And also, what a great move it was that plan was only in place for 13 hours. Brilliant.
Absolutely fucking the art of the deal.
Art of the deal. And this is the thing. How can you possibly do a deal with Trump with any expectation that that's going to last more than a day?
Well, this is why This is why I was thinking they've done a climb down on these tariffs everywhere else, right? And they're having to just change a global reorganization strategy into an isolate China strategy. And I'm like, yeah, but everybody who you're previously an ally with now thinks you're totally unreliable. The damage has been done. You might as well just fucking press ahead and try and go for gold. You know, moonshot it.
Yeah. Although, of course, I don't know if you saw, Elon Musk is basically completely fucked now, because it's being reported by the same person who reported the 90-day freeze that everyone thought they got wrong, so they clearly have contacts of some kind, that the EU and China have started negotiations to abolish EU tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. And they'll just fucking flood that market, and Elon won't sell a single car, because this is the beautiful thing about the Chinese vehicles. Not only are they better and more well-made and cheaper, they're also not made by a Nazi boy who everyone fucking hates.
I mean, it's the problem, of course. What happens to European vehicle manufacturers if they do that, right? That's the big problem. Is that every government in Europe, and the UK is included in this as well, because we don't have tariffs on Chinese vehicles at all. We haven't had them, so there's always been available to buy in the UK, and we have a big vehicles market. Vehicle manufacturing sector in this country. We've got Vauxhall and Lotus and Jaguar Land Rover, shit like that, And so it's the cost of living crisis. Though you want as many goods as you can. You want to increase the supply, so you want to import a bunch of stuff, cheap Chinese goods, bring the cost of living down. But you also want to protect your jobs. This is a real kind of pincer movement. A lot of European governments are in, especially in Germany and things like that. I would be surprised if they abolished the Chinese electric vehicle tariff, but I could see it happening to try and undermine Tesla in the United States. Do we have a real source on this claim, or is it just this tweet?
It's Walter Bloomberg. He's the guy that broke the 90-day story, so I'm tempted to go with it, to be honest with you. We'll wait and see whether anything comes of it, but even if there's a relative reduction in EU tariffs on Chinese cars, that's Tesla out of the game.
Handelsblatt was his source. News and finance. I know what Nachrichten means.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's German for news. So Stimmen und weiter. Let me refresh this. Car tariffs. No punitive tariffs on China electric cars. Trump's trade war brings EU and Beijing close together. Okay, let me have a look.
Because you forget, like in all of the hubbub, people forget that every single country in the world is still getting the 10% tariff. That hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah, that seems to have been glossed over many people. Like, this will still lead to global recession, right?
Yeah.
10% tariffs is still a lot.
Not just that, but the Trump thing of, like, if you don't retaliate, you'll be rewarded. We weren't. We were in exactly the same situation we were this time yesterday. And the day before. And the day before, we were fucked. Yeah. Anyway.
It also just means that Chinese goods are going to... The crisis is going to be even worse in America because half of their fucking factories rely on Chinese imports.
Yeah. I'm not playing the unfortunate freeze frame again. It was bad. It was the middle three letters of the word tonight. Yeah. Anyway.
For Theresa May as her chief of staff was defined by an earlier trade crisis. We called it Brexit.
What the fuck was... Hang on. Let's hear him say that again.
Theresa May as her chief of staff was defined by an earlier trade crisis.
The fuck is wrong with you?
I ask myself that every day.
Just speak normally. You don't... If you're running out of breath, take a breath. It's fine.
Called it Brexit.
Okay. Someone failed drama, didn't they?
Watcha. In the week since Donald Trump announced the highest tariffs since those of the 1930s Great Depression, stock markets have tumbled across the world, and against what Trump expected.
Yeah, but they did go back up and then back down, and then back up and then back down.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
There are manic depressives that are more fucking stable than this. This is not like a good situation for anyone to be in. Literally, having the Trump people try and work out, like, oh, why are the stocks down again? Because he's still fucking everything. Just because he's sort of temporarily unfucked part of it, he still fucked everything. And, as you point out, destroyed America's reputation in the long run. Look, this could genuinely lead to the dollar being taken away as the fucking reserve currency at some point in the near future.
Yeah, I didn't doubt that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just you've destroyed yourself. No one can have confidence that this is going to happen. Because even if Trump does step down and doesn't go for a third term, which by the way is also going to spook markets, you dopey bastards, because nothing spooks it more than political instability. For fuck's sake, who's to say the Americans won't elect a fucking cheese sandwich or a house brick next? Who knows? Could be anything.
Inanimate carbon rod.
The ghost of Harambe. Let's go.
Pony 2012.
The price of US government debt has plummeted, which means that the interest rate the American government pays to borrow has soared. It was all because Trump's tariffs were seen as sparking both higher inflation and a probable American recession. Tonight, however, the president blinked under intense market pressure.
No, his arsehole blinked. He shat himself. He totally shat himself. He went from, I'm Daddy Big Bollocks, 100% tariff for you, 50% tariff for you, everyone gets a fucking tariff, to, oh, the bond markets are going to fuck us. In
literally
a day.
His own quasi-Kwarteng moment.
Yeah, literally. Do you reckon he fucked Liz? Trust, that is, not Cogberg Gotha. Good lord.
I wouldn't want to speculate.
Yeah, we need our presidential and prime ministerial anal sex correspondent. Is Kieran around?
The risk, the danger of not being able to fund the American deficit was just too great. Trump has just said that the highest tariffs are on hold for at least 90 days. But there will be a uniform 10% tariff on all exports to the US, including for our country, for the UK, largely because he needs the money to cut income taxes. This is
for the rich. Literally just for the rich.
Also, speaking of the tariffs, did you see that there was a bill going through the House which the Republicans needed to pass to be able to give presidential or like executive power to implement the tariffs unilaterally, you know?
Yeah.
And it only passed by 2 votes, and 3 Democrats weren't there to vote. One of them was critically ill with cancer in hospital, and 2 of the others had died of cancer, having been elected with cancer.
Well, if you are going to elect very old people, this will happen.
Useless.
Yeah, literally fucking useless. But Cory Booker did a standy uppie. He did a long standy uppie. And then voted for more weapons to do a genocide.
Another 10 trillion to Israel.
Yeah, thanks, Cory. Can you just fuck off, mate? Can you go and stand just on the edge of a cliff and then like maybe a bit go and stand a bit further? Just do that for us, yeah? Prick.
Still the end of free trade in goods, a system that has enriched much of the world. However, such is the...
No, to be fair, he has not made it worse than Millei's fucking Argentina. No. As bad as the current US economy is, that place is like fucking Mad Max hellscape. You've got literal rival football gangs uniting with pensioners to riot. That currently isn't happening in the United States, so, you know... I don't want to be like, you know, count your blessings on this one, but every cloud has a silver lining.
Inspiration of investors for anything that sounds like good news, stock markets have soared on the crude view that free trade has been replaced by quite expensive trade as opposed to hideously expensive trade. And investors are conveniently ignoring the trade war that really matters, that between the world's 2 largest economies, the US and China, which has actually become more aggressive tonight, with the US now charging China a staggering 125% on its trade.
And it's now gotten worse, because this was from yesterday. It's now 145%.
Literally.
I mean, what? Literally, why not just say it's 1,000,000% at this point? Because that's obviously, like, once you get to the 100+%, you basically means that you're not going to be competitive at all.
No, like no one's going to be sourcing products from China unless they really, really, really have to.
Yeah, unless it's like it's not available from any other place. So you're basically saying you can't import to us at this point.
Yeah.
You know.
Captain Coconut asks, doesn't China have a lot of US Treasury bonds? They do. They do.
Yes.
There was a big sell-off, obviously, with the yield increasing before, because of the sell-off. But apparently, the sell-off wasn't from China's holding of US Treasuries. It was from Japan. Japan were the ones dumping US Treasuries, right? I'm assuming China are just waiting until like there's a real kind of run on the dollar or like a run on Treasuries, then dump their stock as well, and then really fucking dip the American economy into the fucking mud. Like they can't press like the nuke of like getting rid of their treasuries unless they think it's going to have maximum impact.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and it's also their big kind of weapon. If they need to go nuclear, they're not literally going to go nuclear. They could just start selling off those bonds and threatening America with basic devastation. Because you're trying to fight a war when you've already given your opposition a weapon that can kill you.
Well, exactly. Because how much fucking like renminbi is held in the United States, right?
Like it's very silly that Trump is doing this. And again, he's not doing this for any good reason. Like, why the fuck would you take on Canada? What the fuck? Like, Canada, other than Britain, is there a country that has sucked America's balls harder in the last 200 years? And you're having a dig at Canada? He's just swinging wild because he's a senile, economically illiterate fucking prick.
Yep.
And of course on the make, because there's no way that he and his people didn't fucking make a fortune yesterday.
After he tweeted out,
he did a pump
please
and
go
dump.
buy.
Yeah, he did a pump and dump on his own coin, and then he's done the reverse. He's done a dump, buy, and then pump on his own fucking stock markets. Like, wow, amazing shit. Anyway, yes.
Leaves Britain paying the same tax to Trump's America as those countries seen by Trump as discriminating against the US. And as an open economy, the UK is still exposed to the Trump-induced global economic slowdown that can't be avoided. So, if Trump's trade economics is now dumb rather than dumber, the outlook for the world is grim.
America, please. I know you, my American fans, and yours too, I presume, don't need to be convinced of this, but just know this is how the world is talking about you. You're not dumber, you're just dumb for the time being. That's it. This is how you're being viewed by the rest of the world.
Well, the problem is that you know, the fact that Trump is dumb is what appeals to loads of dumb people in America.
Well, literally,
Speaks the language.
Yeah. But it's then really annoying to see him lie and go, "Oh, the world respects us now." No, the fuck they don't.
Well, that's what's so funny about the Trump stuff is that he just lie all the time.
Oh, everything he says, everything he fucking says, he can't help himself.
Like one of the in the tweet he put out, or he truthed out saying that all these 75 countries, they didn't reciprocate and they came to negotiate. One of them was the EU that had just announced they were applying 25% tariffs on US exports.
And isn't a country.
And isn't a country. Like, so he just lied. Like, I've seen so many Trump defenders in the comments going, "Oh, but they're reciprocal tariffs because they put tariffs on us." And I'm just like, no, they didn't. That's the trade deficit.
Yeah. Again, the trade deficit is not a tariff. And the way he can... Look, have you heard that they actually had like properly worked out mathematical structures as choices for him? Because obviously, whenever there's a policy decision, and this works with prime ministers and stuff as well, you get given like a series of options that you could do, right? So you have the experts in the field, and your administration will work together to come up with options to choose for the president. And so they had like a series of different mathematical equations to work out exactly what the kind of effective tariff was for each country, and then you could have a reciprocal thing based on that. And he just went, no, none of these, and went with his weird thing where it was the deficit minus how much they import divided by whatever, and he was just an insane
Whoa.
deficit thing,
Don't
which is no one has ever used that to work this out. It's complete bollocks. It's mumbo jumbo.
Don't forget, he also multiplied it by 4 and then divided it by 4.
Genius. Also, oh my god, it was Andrew Yang, who I hate to give any credit to, but was absolutely right mathematically about the percentages and how this works. He put out a very simple tweet about if something goes down and then goes by a certain percentage, then up by a certain percentage, it doesn't get back to the same number, right? So he did if you have $100 and it goes down by 10%, it's $90. So if it then goes back up by 10%, it goes to $99, right?
Yeah.
And all of these Trump people where did you get this 9 from? Where does this 9 magically appear? Oh, for fuck's sake. This is what
I can't believe
how do you negotiate with people like this? How do you talk to them?
I can't believe we trusted Americans with electing the global hegemon.
Look, I'm just going to say this now. 1775 was America's last great year.
It's so true. I can't believe I ever let them go.
Exactly. And I can't believe we let them get away with that fucking tea nonsense as well. You still owe us that tea, you pricks.
Rather than grimmer. Anushka.
Thank you, Robert. Let's go through some of that and the idea that Donald Trump has at least blinked somewhat. This was what he announced on Liberation Day on April
Liberation
the 2nd.
Day.
So left to right is GDP per capita or wealth, which means the richer countries are up here and the poorer countries are down here. And the up axis is the size of the first announced tariff, with the circles representing...
Poor Lesotho. What the fuck did Lesotho do?
Well, of course, they haven't got... They literally have to buy everything for the United States.
Yeah.
Population. So this is the 10%...
As if you'd look at the American economy and go, you know the big problem here? Lesotho.
Base rate for most of the world. You can see countries lined up. This is us here, the United Kingdom. Then
Something
with higher rates, you
outlier.
can see the European Union here at the rich end on 20%. But most of the countries that were badly hit on day one were actually the poorer ones. So like Vietnam,
If they can't
here,
afford to buy
Cambodia,
American goods.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Lesotho, which I think Donald Trump had never even heard of a few weeks ago. And you can't miss China right here in the middle, a big circle. Now, Trump has just blinked on many of these measures. We are grappling with it, but most of these countries are dropping down to the 10% line. But as Robert said, China is basically going off the charts. So let's have a look at what Robert was just talking about, why he might have done this, starting with the stock markets. These are the stock markets across the world. The
Masterful gambit, sir.
Whee! I love how someone put like the picture of Elon Musk leaping up in the air like a dipshit, to quote Tim Waltz, and then had him like falling down the S&P 500.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well done, America. Really spectacular work. Like, this is genuinely worse than Brexit in terms of a country destroying its own economy on purpose for the lols. It's literally it's worse than Brexit. This is mega Brexit.
It's like this is Mao Pig-iron territory.
It is a bit. It is a bit. Like, but I for one can't wait for Americans to start an egg barter economy. It's the only future that lies ahead for you. The dollar's not going to be worth anything. Eggs are going to be like fucking gold dust.
Isn't it weird how all the MAGA people just stopped talking about the price of eggs?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Like, literally, they go like, oh, the price of eggs has gone up 2 cents. This is an outrage, Biden. You did this. And now eggs are worth more than fucking oil. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, who cares? What is money when you think about it, really? Who needs money?
I mean, I wonder if eggs are cheaper than oil now, if you do it by weight, because like oil barrels have actually massively dropped in value.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia have been pumping like fucking crazy. Because a bunch of other OPEC countries have been undermining the agreements. They're like, fuck it, taking you all down with me.
Yeah,
And
fuck
this
it.
is
We've
having
got an ocean of oil, you pricks. You can't outdo us on this. You can't.
Exactly. And so what this has joint done is screwed over America and Russia, because America's biggest export is oil,
Yeah.
and their production costs are much higher than a bunch of other oil producing countries. So they now can't make a profit off of oil because the barrel cost is now the same as the production cost for the barrels in America, which Saudi Arabia don't have. Their oil extraction is cheaper, especially. And then also about Russia, they are financing their war effort through oil sales, and now the oil that they're selling is worth way less. They're making far less money on it.
Sure.
So Russia now find it harder to fund their war effort and have to run an even bigger deficit and increase interest rates again.
Also, I do hope that Saudi Arabia aren't using so many of their barrels that they don't have any left over to melt their journalists in.
It's true.
I wouldn't want them to miss out on that, you know what I mean?
Sees April the 2nd at the end, and you can see what happened. Most of them fell off a cliff. The UK FTSE 100 on Friday had its worst day since the pandemic, but since today's backstep, they have now surged. Now, Vice President J.D. Vance once said the administration would not cater to Wall Street, but here is one problem.
Whereas now they've thrown a fucking buffet for them. Brilliant, thanks.
Exactly. And then also give them a tip to buy the dip.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, oh my god. Not like you'd expect insider trading to be inside, but he just literally
Outsider.
not tweeted it, but like truthed it.
Truthed it.
Right? He truthed out. Now would be a good time to buy. Like, are you literally doing the nudge, nudge, wink, wink thing here now? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh yeah, we're just gonna rob this bank now, if you don't mind. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Fucking hell. And dickheads in trailer parks will be like, oh no, he stands for the average American. What? What are you talking about?
He stands on the average American.
Well, that is true.
Normal American voters, 62% of them own shares. So people's savings were online.
Yeah, when we talk about like how these bastards are stealing billions from the, well, not stealing, but like making billions from this pump and dump, or dump and pump, I suppose, scheme, that's coming out of people's retirement fund. Ultimately, like, it's disgusting, and it's the Machiavellian evil genius to tie people's retirement fund to the stock market doing well. Honestly, capitalist recuperation is one of the most evil and genius things that's ever existed. Amazing shit. They've literally got the poorest in society caring about the richest doing well. Phenomenal. Anyway, yeah, the money that these people are taking from the stock market here is from 401k funds. People's retirement money.
And that's the thing as well, is that I was going to say something. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say now.
Yeah. Insert
I was
profound
going
and awesome thing.
I was going to say, this is a real Trump hawk tour moment. That's what it is.
Well, no, you already did that before he became president. In the interregnum, little word for you there. In the interregnum, he literally did a pump and dump on DJT coin. So he literally already did. He literally already did a hawk tour. Now he's hawk touring the world. He's dumping and pumping the entire world economy. 8 billion people just got hawk toured, and not in the good way that could have been meant.
Literally, I love how I would like a MAGA person going, Trump, please, Donald, I loved MAGA, but you took my 401, you took my retirement savings.
Yeah. Hawk tour, shit on that thing.
MAGA was supposed to bring us together.
Here in the UK, it is less, 23%, but people were very worried
Trump's
about their
gone.
pension funds. And as Robert mentioned, the other big problem was long-term yields in the US. That is basically the interest rate on government bonds, effectively the...
No, 255, it's not just that America is more important to the world economy. I'm talking just from America's point of view. It's lost more money than Brexit lost Britain. In, like, 2 days. Or in a week or whatever. Like, it's done more damage. And more long-term damage. Britain has not necessarily gone past Brexit, but, like, we're in that place where it's just sort of happened and we've accepted that shit and moved on. Whereas this is, like, fresh hell. He's getting worse because it's 125%. Now it's 145%. Tomorrow, Elon Musk's going to step in and it's going to be 420%. Blaze it. You know, it's fucking government run by 20-year-old 4chan incels.
I am become meme.
Yeah, you know, you live the meme and you live the dream. That's basically what's happening to me.
Fucking hell. I hate him. Oh, that's the worst. Genuinely, the worst part of the election is knowing that it made Elon Musk happy. Like, I could die entirely fulfilled if I knew that Elon Musk was sad for the rest of his life.
True, but I know what did make him sad. Did you see him rage quit his game thing on the plane?
I did see him.
Literally.
The chat was so funny.
It's, you know, for an absolute fact, he did read those messages and he was upset by them. And that makes me happy.
Yeah, literally.
And no one does like him, and he will die alone. And
It's
even
true.
though is there a person in history who's a virgin and has had that many children? Because he's both of those things, unfortunately. Hello there, Tina 2. I don't know why the raid noise didn't happen. That's a bit annoying. Anyway, hello there, Tina 2, and the Tina 2 Raiderinos. Welcome in, one and all. I'm Kevin Logan, a socialist from the UK. You can hit the follow button if you are so interested. It's free, and you can always change your mind. I'm joined by No Justice MTG. She is friends with Ash Sarkar and Nazis, i.e. Jeremy Corbyn.
It's true. I am friends with Jeremy Corbyn. He is my best friend.
Literally. Actually, I was...
Sorry for being so anti-Semitic. I do apologise.
Well, yeah, no, that's entirely unacceptable. Although, did you see Luke Akehurst is now Hamas? The Labour Friends of Israel are now Hamas.
Ian Dale is now Hamas.
Inshallah, brother.
Mashallah, brother.
Anyway, yes. What was I going to say? Oh, fuck, I did have something to say, and I've totally forgotten. Doesn't matter. Let's go.
Cost of borrowing. You can see how it has spiked over the past week. This is what happens.
Is that good? Is that good? That doesn't seem very good.
People lose faith in the economy. They sell government bonds, pushing up the rates. A massive headache for governments. They have stabilised and now started to fall. And Donald Trump has, we know, commented on that tonight. Here's a CNN journalist here saying the bond market right now looks beautiful. But yeah, last night I saw why people were getting a little queasy.
Fascinating stuff, Anushka. Thanks very much. Delighted to be joined by Gavin Barwell. And as I say, you're not a stranger to crises, political crises, when you were working with Theresa May, trying to get that Brexit legislation through Parliament. So some of the people around Trump are saying tonight this was all part of some cunning plan.
He looks a bit like a middle-aged accountant version of Carl Rittenhouse.
To force countries to negotiate with the US to get better trade deals for the US from them. So what do you think? Do you think this was Trump playing 3D chess? Or was he playing tiddlywinks? And
3D chess? That's just chess. What are you talking about? You can say 4D or 5D. The meme isn't 3D chess because that's just every game of chess that's ever happened. We live in a three-dimensional existence, Robert. What are you talking? Are you just on a screen? Are you not a real person? Do you just exist on the telly? Fuck me. Oh.
Has just been outsmarted.
He's blinked exactly as you said. And he'd already blinked a little bit before with Canada and Mexico, which are the two hardest ones for him to hit because the North American free trade deal means it's a bit like the UK.
Chess is on a 2D plane, but the fucking pieces are 3D, and the people playing it are 3D. It's 3D chess. Don't start with me. I'm not having your fucking chicanery. Otherwise, Monopoly is also fucking two-dimensional then, is it? Shut up.
Leaving the single market when you put tariffs on Canada and Mexico. I think from the start there's been a contradiction at the heart of this policy, which is on the one hand, some people say this is a negotiation strategy. You put the tariffs up, you get into a negotiation, you do a deal, you get improved terms. That implies they're temporary. On the other hand, he was saying this is going to make companies move their production into the US. That would only work if it was a permanent change in policy. No company's going to shift its factory if it thinks the president's going to change the policy in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Exactly. No, who the fuck is building a factory in America right now?
All that's happened is it's mean that people are shutting America out of their supply chains, right?
Yeah.
Like one thing, like one of the biggest American exports to China is the export of soybeans, and so they're just going to get it from fucking Brazil
soy.
instead.
Soy.
Literally, they hate soy so much they're getting rid of it all and sending it to China. They must think that must be their trump card in a future America-China ground conflict, is they'll feminize all the Chinese soldiers with soy.
That's fair enough. You know what? It's a good plan. Well done, Trump. He's playing 1D chess.
But this decision today, I think, is very clearly a blink. But we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that with what you mentioned on China and also the automotive tariffs
And the
the
steel
steel and
tariff.
aluminium tariffs,
I mean,
the effective average tariff rate is actually higher today than it was on Liberation Day a few days ago.
Oh, look, 125% tariffs on China, 25%
Also,
on
can we
steel.
stop calling it Liberation Day? That's very stupid. It's very, very stupid. It was a funny meme on Liberation Day, but it's not. Just call it last Tuesday or whatever the fuck it was.
Or the day when the tariffs were announced.
Yeah, the event.
No, don't talk about the
Deal.
event.
No, not the event! No!
Cars, aluminium. This is still the end of free trade,
huge.
and it is still the breakup of globalisation, because you've now got these two
Oh, that's
superpowers.
honestly my favourite bit of this is Keir Starmer coming out and being like, "This is the end of globalisation." Oh, so can we nationalise steel? No. Can we have any protection? No. Can we have publication? No. Can we have a free trade agreement? Yeah, free trade agreement with America. Woo!
And also, for like 3 days later, globalization to suddenly turn up again.
Yeah, because it's nonsense. It was never anything. Never anything. Honestly, I can see why he gets on well with Trump, because they're both totally full of shit. Virtually everything they say is a lie.
Victory is ours!
Economically totally separated by tariffs. So this is a hugely significant moment, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think one of the really interesting things in terms of the future of globalisation, I thought the PM and Darren Jones at the weekend were a bit too negative on that, because I think one of the interesting things to watch is whether other major economies in the world begin to liberalise further amongst themselves to try and mitigate some of the damage that the US is doing to their trading relationship.
Now look, Gavin,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
tons more.
Like, people aren't going to get on board with America when China are the rising power. There's also India to take into account. Why the fuck would you attach yourself to the sinking ship of the American empire at this point?
Well, exactly. Like they're being belligerent is exactly the wrong time. Let's make enemies at a time when people are choosing which power they want to be aligned with.
And not
Sounds
just
like
that,
an
but, like,
excellent plan.
But it's so, like, just do anything to trigger the libs pilled, if you will, because he's attacking all of the countries that actually do deals with America, going after Canada and Mexico and Britain and France, not going after any of the actual fucking countries that are enemies potentially of America.
Well, definitely not Russia.
No, absolutely not. No.
What's interesting is that again, I've forgotten what I was gonna fucking say. I have no idea. What the fuck is going on with me tonight? I've done so much work this week.
To be fair, I feel like I'm a shit vortex. I drag people into shit. They become
No, I was
worse
like this
for my
yesterday.
presence.
I was like this yesterday as well. I was going to make a point. I've forgotten what it was now.
Nope.
No, that's gone. Okay.
Okay.
More actually related to what we've just said that we can pick up on in a minute, because I have actually done an interview with the Prime
Ladies and
Minister
gentlemen,
today,
we got
and guess what?
Victory is
It
ours!
was all about Trump's tariffs.
Prime Minister, very good to see you. We are in a fully fledged global financial crisis. Stock markets falling, US bond prices tumbling. Recession is baked in, say investors. Are you and the Chancellor in touch with the Bank of England to provide the measures that will support the economy, support British people?
Well, the approach we've taken is to be calm.
Also, it's never questioned, is it, that the Bank of England just gets to rule us and we have absolutely no democratic say over it whatsoever?
I mean, we can pass a law to remove independence of the independence of the Bank of England if we wanted to, but that would involve having a government that wants to rock the boat, which we of course don't have at the moment.
Well, yeah, but it's not even questioned. Did Jeremy Corbyn even say he would do that? I don't think he did.
No, they were going to assert fiscal dominance, which was
It's just
to try and force monetary policy to align with their fiscal policy.
But that still meant that you have these unelected wankers that then go on to become unelected wankers of Canada as well. Yeah. Thank you, Katie Marshall, who says, "Who's the bigger wank, Tangerine or Kid Starmer?" Oh, well, Trump. Yeah. Like, Starmer is a prick, but like, he doesn't run a country important enough to be that impactful.
Well, that's what I was going to. The point I was going to make, right, is that I think that the key kind of fulcrum in which a lot of this lies is the chauvinism of the Trump camp.
Yeah.
In that they believe they are still the great ascendant power, they just have more competition now. And they truly did believe they were Billy Big Bollocks and that they had enough power to be able to strong arm other countries to be on their side. And then immediately found as soon as they clicked they pressed the red button, that actually that was not true, and that every other country would not bend to their whim. They weren't connected at the hip, and if they tried to start a fight, they would get punched back, and that's what happened with Canada and the EU. Not the UK, obviously. We were a gracious little loyal lapdog, kicked by Trump, still running back to their master,
and literally not even getting any benefit for it. We're now just being tariffed at exactly the same fucking rate as we were at the start of this. We've gained nothing.
Same as the EU now. Yeah. Just another Brexit benefit.
We've gained absolutely nothing for having completely kowtowed on every issue. That's interesting, isn't it? I was sure that I'd made the point at the very start of this that there has never been a time in history where kowtowing to the bully worked. And yet that's what we did. And it didn't fucking work, Kia.
And it's because, again, like Trump said, we are removing the tariffs because they didn't retaliate. When the EU literally retaliated, they weren't backing down out of gracious. They were backing down because they'd been cornered, right? They'd been called out.
There's definitely 75 countries. He's got a whole list, totally.
Binders full of countries.
He's got binders full of countries. Honestly, he's got a concept of a plan for a list of countries. Honest.
Speaking of a concept of a plan, when the Keir Starmer liaison committee, he was just like, "We've got a child poverty strategy, but let me get back to you on that once we know what it is." And I'm just like, he literally doesn't even have concepts of a plan.
No, he's fucking useless. But he did point out that the last Labour government reduced poverty for children, and so he definitely will too.
Well, not even even say he definitely will. He said he wanted to.
Oh, said he wanted to. Yeah. He's got a concept of a plan to hope to maybe want to do it at some point, maybe.
We've got a concept of a plan to maybe want to form a working group to then make a task force to then make a milestone for reducing child poverty.
True. Maybe you can convert one of the fucking jet neutral quangos. Jet Zero, sorry, into child poverty task force.
To be pragmatic. The Chancellor speaks to the Bank of England all the time, that's common practice, but also to recognise that stability is hugely important. The fiscal rules were put in.
There's nothing he won't try and adults in the room himself through. That's his only club in his bag is, we're adults in the room. We'll just be sensible and pragmatic.
Literally, because he was asked a very kind of specific question here, and all he's just said is, "We are going to be cool and calm and fiscal rules and stability, securonomics."
Yeah, fucking loser.
In for a purpose, they're ironclad. They're
ironclad.
And we will always act.
And they're not going to change.
They're not going to change. We're acting in the national interest. Those fiscal rules are foundational to the stability that we brought to our economy. So we go ahead. In that calm way. Obviously, we're talking to the US to see what we can do to mitigate the situation.
Okay.
We're talking to the industries.
So what he said here, chat, just to decode this for you, you know what he said here? He said, "Fuck all." He has said nothing.
Literally nothing. Yeah. We're gonna contact America and ask nicely, and that will totally work.
We're calm. We have fiscal rules, and we're talking. There's nothing. That means nothing. That's not a strategy. That's just you saying things.
Yeah, but that's his entire modus operandi as Prime Minister. Is just say things, and maybe some stuff will happen or something.
Well, because he doesn't believe in anything. He has no plan, no strategy, no nothing. He just wanted to be the Prime Minister, and then has delegated all decision-making to Pan McFadden.
in the sectors most affected, and we're turbocharging what we can do in our own economy. And that's why you saw an announcement earlier this week
Turbocharging, love it.
in relation to Z mandates and what we're doing on life sciences. That's the approach we're taking, and of course working with others to see where we can lower trade barriers around the world. But calm, pragmatic, and being absolutely
That's a
clear.
policy. That's a thing. He said one thing.
He
Said a thing. Working with allies to reduce tariffs elsewhere. That's an actual thing. Well done, Keir. You've said a singular thing. I can't believe it.
But even then, working with doesn't imply how that would work. Like,
True.
Technically, if he lets Trump use him as a footstool, that would be working with them, wouldn't it?
True.
You know. So we'll have to wait and see what the outcome of that is.
Framework for stability we put in place, that stays in place because that's crucially important.
So much to talk about today. You're talking about stability at home, but instability has been caused by Donald Trump's tariffs, especially the 104% levy on China.
Literally, the inflation in this. So 2 days ago, when this fucking conversation happened, it was 104. Then yesterday, when it was announced, this was broadcast 125, and today it's 145.
3,000%, over 9,000, over 9,000%.
Literally, amazing. That's number one.
Do you like to take the opportunity now to say to him, change course, drop those tariffs?
Well, I'm not going to engage in megaphone diplomacy through the media. But I mean, I've been clear throughout.
Why not? Trump does. Trump does it all the fucking time, you bellend. Trump will just come out and say some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, why are you doing a deal with not adults in the room when you're adults in the room?
A trade war is in nobody's interest, and that's why we have not gone sort of both feet in for retaliatory measures straight away. We're taking the preparatory.
No, the reason you didn't do that is because you're a fucking minge. That's why.
Because you are entirely subservient.
Yeah.
Measures to make sure all options are on the table. But what businesses are saying to me, particularly those most impacted, is no knee-jerk reaction, do this in a pragmatic way, focused on the national interest, turbocharging what we can do
for
here.
fuck's sake! It's going to drive me mental, this man. It's just the same.
4 more years of this, Kev. 4 more years of this.
The same fucking thing. Literally, I'm turbocharged, because that's his new thing, right? So the people I'm talking to are telling me to be pragmatic and sensible and not knee-jerk. Turbocharge. Like, it's just the same repeated fucking noise coming out of his face every time. And I want to do things that would be terms of service to even say.
Literally, it's going to be everything. Everything's going to be the same. Every single time he comes on TV, he's going to be asked a direct question, and he goes, well, we're laser focused on fixing the foundations to turbocharge the calm, collected, in the national interest strategy for the milestone.
Oh, fucking hell, man. I can't listen to him, honestly. He's going to make me go fucking nuclear. Not literally, MI5, leave me alone.
In our own economy, and talking to other world leaders about lowering trade barriers across the world.
But for America, this looks like a Liz Truss-style financial crisis. The price that America pays to borrow is soaring, and we've been infected. I don't know if you've been told this, but the government's borrowing costs are now the highest since 1998. He's harming us. Surely you've got to say to him, stop, change course.
Tariffs like this are very challenging, and they're in nobody's interests, and getting into a trade war is in nobody's interest.
No one wants to see that.
Absolutely clear in my...
No one wants to see this. It's no one's interest. Turbocharge the fucking foundations. I just...
What do you mean? You asked a question about what he's going to do about the fact that bond yields have risen in this country, but of course, Peter Simon doesn't know what that fucking means.
Chat,
he doesn't know what it means.
Chat, you have to give us both money. Do you know how much we're suffering through this? And technically we are also inflicting that on you, but you're making the decision to watch this. That's your fucking problem.
That's the thing. It's just that he doesn't know what he's talking, and he can't give a real answer.
No. No, it's just the same pre-programmed 4 sentences he has. Honestly, it's the bit where, for those who are fans of the old sitcom Father Ted, where they get the drunk father, they teach him 3 different phrases to say. So when the bishops come round, he has like a thing, and his go-to is that would be an ecumenical matter for like everything that doesn't have the preset yes no answers to it. And it's the same fucking person. They just plug a USB into his back or whatever with a fucking the today's list of fucking phrases, and he's a wind-up toy. It's fucking infuriating.
Literally a wind-up toy as Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
We've literally got the monkey with the cymbals. Anyway, thank you, Zakap, for raiding. It's raid central up in this bitch tonight. Everyone go and follow Zakap.
Hey.
They're Australian and awesome. Yes, and also follow Tina too. I don't know if I said that when they came in. Anyway, hello Australians. I'm Kevin Logan. I'm on the other side of the world, but we used to send people there. That's why there are white people. Hello.
Hello, convicts.
Criminals. Hello. Anyway. Oh God. I was actually watching a thing from Australia. It was this fucking comedy show, right? And at the start of the comedy show, they did like the whitest thing ever. They had like an announcement.
The return of the
that was like, we accept.
Just a random number.
We acknowledge.
I don't know what the
Hang on one
number would
second.
be for all stammers are bad. Still, a kitty bong.
Thank you, Wayward Historian with Bitty Bits. Much love. There was a noise a lot. Anyway, it had this voiceover thing at the start that was like, we accept that this is Aboriginal land, and we accept, we support Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander rights, and blah 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 blah. And I just thought that's the whitest thing ever. You're just going to say this is land. You're not going to give it back or anything. You're not going to do anything, but it's going to make you feel better before a comedy show to just say it. Brilliant.
True,
Thanks,
true.
guys. Like, fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong in saying it, but like, if that's all you're doing, it's fucking pointless. Anyway, yes. You can hit the follow button if you wanted to. New people. You don't have to. It's fine. Also, go and follow No Justice MTG, who's also with me.
You can do that if you really, really, really want.
Yeah. Indeed.
My mind about that. That's why, on the one hand, we're negotiating to mitigate the situation where we can, but at the same time working with our own economy and our own sectors most impacted, and with others, to ensure that we can steer a course through what is undoubtedly a challenge.
You've said the fiscal
Nothing
rules
again.
won't change.
Literally pointless.
The economy-
yeah. Like, there's no point. Genuinely, there's no point listening to him. But in a way, that's what he wants. I don't think he wants people listening
Ladies
to
and
him
gentlemen,
because he doesn't have anything of worth to say.
Victory is ours!
He just wants to be left alone to allow Morgan McSweeney to destroy the country. He just wants to. He just wants to go to the Arsenal for free. That's it. He wants to go to
Literally,
football for nothing.
literally.
And
It's the only thing he's here for.
and free glasses and dresses for his wife, and then he gets and not have to make decisions and do fucking conferences and stuff. Hello there, Sister Rose. I haven't seen your newest YouTube poop. Give us a link and I'll watch it later off air or something. Yeah.
economy is slowing down, and that means that come the autumn, because of those fiscal rules, you will either have to cut spending again or raise taxes. There are really strong arguments for saying, temporarily at least, you should shelve those fiscal rules, because when the economy is slowing down, the last thing you want is lower spending or higher taxes.
I reject that
Incredible,
argument.
right? Incredible that we're getting that, which is true. Like what he said there is true. What Preston said there is true. Is that we were having economic slowdown. You may want to do fiscal stimulus and therefore not want to cut spending. Where was this at literally any point from any journalist at any time from 2010 until 2016?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. It sort of reminds me as well of I don't know if you saw some of the dialogue around the you shouldn't doorstep politicians. This is outrageous. They're entitled to a private life. All of this stuff because some politicians. And I'm like, why is it that I know what Jeremy Corbyn's house looks like? Because I've never looked for that. I've never searched that out. I have no interest. But I know what it looks like. When I think of his house, I can picture it perfectly. Oh, it's because you prick doorstepped him every day for fucking 10 years going, do you hate all Jewish people? Are you actually a Nazi?
condemn Hamas. They
Yeah.
did it on October the 7th.
They literally did.
Literally on October the 7th.
He'd been kicked
They're
out of the
like,
Labour
"Jeremy."
Party. It was just a random backbencher on the opposition benches, and they're like, "Oh, Jeremy, do you condemn Hamas?" Oh, for fuck's sake! But no, we can't doorstep the Prime Minister or anything. That'd be terrible. Well, especially because he's got gates at the end of his fucking street now. But whatever.
True.
Liz Truss tried the experiment.
Although those are relatively modern. Thatcher had those put in.
No.
Yeah, up until the 80s, you could just walk down Downing Street. And then she pissed off the IRA, and that fucking changed.
True. It also kind of doesn't help when you want to bring Gulbadine Hekmatyar into government, into number 10.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, I mean, plenty of fucking other crazy bastards went through those doors. And again, there was no gates, and it was fine. Things just, it was just fine. And then she went and pissed off the IRA. And those fuckers don't mess around.
You don't fuck with the Irish.
No, don't do it. And Nicola Sturgeon, they pitched a police marquee outside her house. Yeah, exactly, yeah. No, if you're anywhere vaguely on the left, you can get doorstepped into an early grave. But, heaven forbid anyone ever go at fucking Jonathan Ashworth. Good Lord.
Of putting to one side rules and institutions, checks and balances, and it had a huge impact on working people across the country when she crashed the economy. We are not going
But no, it's going to have. It's going to have a really bad effect on people across the economy if you fucking screw up the economy, right? The fiscal rule is what is screwing up the economy. You're making the argument against this. You are not changing your position to the detriment of the economy. This is literally the same fucking mistake that George Osborne made, right?
Yeah.
Just because Liz Truss did one thing one time does not mean that you can't do a similar thing this time for fiscal expansionary reasons because of different circumstances. Fuck off. You are the prime. You should know this.
Well, no, because again, he's economically illiterate. We know this. He doesn't fucking understand any of this shit. Again, he's been programmed today to just go, fiscal policies good for people. No spendy. That's it.
No spendy.
Thank you, Katie, with a couple of quid. Another jump scare because I'm cheeky. Well, thank you. I genuinely am going to change that though, because they got me the other day. When I was interviewing Marcy, the trans woman who was arrested in America, which is really interesting, and I put it up as a segment on my YouTube. Anyway. After that, I'd forgotten that I turned the noise alert off for the interview because, obviously, and then I'd forgotten I'd turned it back on, and the jump scare happened, and it was like 1 a.m, and I'm sat in the dark on my own, and this fucking voice booms out behind me. I nearly shat myself.
What is the alert?
It's Mark Goldbridge, right, who's a football dude, and he says, I don't want to do this anymore, which doesn't sound that scary, but it's the audio thing, right? So because he was away from the microphone when he said it, I hear it as someone behind me. And it honestly, coming through the headphone, if I had speakers, it wouldn't be a problem, because on the headphone, it literally comes from behind me out of the darkness, and it shits me up. And it got me so bad the other day. Fucking hell, I am gonna have to change that. That's not. It's becoming an issue. I can't sleep.
No, it's not an issue. It's not an issue.
It's not an issue. No, not an issue. Has that Malta had anything to say about any of this, or is he still going on about fucking Trump?
Well, I'm assuming he is, but I think now is the one acceptable time to be posting Trump slop.
True, but if that's all you're doing, and that's what a lot of these dickheads are doing. The last fucking what's it called, Super Tansky video about Trump. Trump's the thing you want to talk about. That's it. Let's not talk about Britain because it's going really, really well here. So let's just talk about America instead. Honest.
Working people. That's why the fiscal rules were put in the first place. It's why they're ironclad, why they're non-negotiable, because that platform of stability is what gives us the chance for investment into this country.
What evidence is there that it actually provides any such platform?
I mean, I can understand why he's saying this, right? But he says it provides a platform for investment. You were literally being asked to break the fiscal rules to make more room for investment. You're making the opposite argument here, Keir. And the thing is, he's saying that because he's getting such a programmed answer.
Huge investment I've been able to announce today in relation to the Bedford theme park.
I don't want to do
Billions of
this
pounds.
anymore.
The fucking Bedford theme park. Brilliant. You know how it was always said we were a nation of shopkeepers? Now we're a nation of theme park employees. That's it. It's just going to be a wall-to-wall theme parks everywhere.
Don't worry, Chad. Don't worry, Chad. I know that the economy is in real trouble, and we really have a really strong response to the fucking Trump recession. But I've managed to get funding. Not even funding. I've managed to get planning permission for a theme park. Oh dear.
See, my people are such bastards. I said, "Oh, don't scare me. I don't like being scared," and they've done it again. Thank you, James. Just getting in before you change it. Then nice. And Nick Laughlin with Canadian dollars.
Ooh.
I don't know what is that. Has your economy been destroyed? Is $7 Canadian dollars worth anything anymore?
They're probably worth more than an American dollar now.
Almost certainly, yeah. If you're American, please pay me in eggs. I don't need your fucking worthless greenback shithouse paper. Please turn off the alert that scares you. My name of Crumbly Jumbles. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't know what that means. Yeah, okay, thank you. I might change it to something else. I don't know.
That only comes because we created the conditions of stability, and the fiscal rules are part of that.
So, lenders to the UK may well take comfort from that, but it does mean that there is a very good chance that in the autumn, taxes may have to go up, public spending may have to be cut. Can you give assurances to British people that their taxes for ordinary working people will not rise?
But I don't accept this proposition that it is in...
So it's going up then. Okay. So that's another broken promise from the election. No taxes.
No, I think the opposite is true. I think the opposite is true. I think they aren't going to raise taxes, and it'll just mean more austerity.
Okay, possibly. That's also true. But I mean, that's sort of the dichotomy here. I think Keir Starmer is trying to say, I reject the idea that there has to be any change in this at all. Whereas the point is, are you going to raise taxes to make up the shortfall, or do austerity, or some combination of the two?
Ladies and gentlemen,
because the numbers don't add up.
victory is ours.
And he's going to say, no, the numbers will add up, even though I currently look like a fucking Wallace and Gromit character doing a grin. Which he definitely does in that freeze frame.
We forgot about the crackers.
Oh, fiscal deficit, Gromit!
Because there's literally you have three choices: you raise taxes, you cut spending, or you change the fiscal rules.
Yeah. I mean, that the sensible thing to do would be the raising taxes on rich people and change the fiscal rules.
Exactly. And you won't do either of those things. I mean, there are also some other things you can do. You could change a bunch of Bank of England stuff. I mean, you could just force them to lower interest rates, which would also give you more room for manoeuvre. You could get them to wind down their quantitative tightening program. You could change the amount that we pay as a tiered interest payments on reserves on QE held by the Bank of England. Yeah. We could do any of these things, and they so far have done none.
I don't want to do this anymore.
I hate the X-Man with the fantastic suggestion that soon throwing eggs at politicians will be considered bribery. Which is a delightful thought. Thank you, Flint Reed, with 10 quid. Much love. Evening, Kev. Soz I am late. Was watching Thought Slime. It was a long one. Ooh. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Inevitable that things will happen in 6 months' time. Our job is to make sure that we stabilise the economy and grow the economy. And every time there's a budget...
Get the emotes out, chat. You know which one I'm talking about.
How is he going to grow the economy in a global fucking recession without fiscal stimulus? How is he going to do it?
Well, here we go, right? You know we're getting a 10% tariff, right? So just press the button 10% harder.
It's true. I forgot about the grow the economy button. Yeah, it's amazing he's not pressed it yet. They've been there, 9 months now? Still not pressed the grow the economy button.
No, because he's been mainly pressing the theme park button so far.
You know, for months beforehand, this question of, you know, will taxes go up? Will there be more spending? We had it at the last budget. We're very clear about our rules then. We just had it with the spring statement, very clear about our rules. I'm very clear about the rules we've got. Those fiscal rules are here for a purpose. They're here to stay. And my job and the Chancellor's job is to grow our economy, to create the conditions to take the necessary decisions at the budget.
Now,
Again, nothing.
You have
Absolutely
said very
nothing.
publicly that the world has changed. Give me, as succinctly as you can, what you think that means in terms of the global economy.
What I mean by that is that the changes to tariffs and other measures that the President has
Okay, hang a
taken
minute, pause. What do we think he's going to say here? Because you know, and I know, that he doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
He's been asked to explain what he means by a statement that he doesn't understand the meaning of, that he's been told to say by Morgan McSweeney. This is going to be really fucking funny.
It's, well, I'm going to guess it's some combination of...
Non-binary underscore
hang on one
donated
second.
$3.
Hang on.
Did you see the video of Trump bragging about manipulation of the market? He made $4 billion today.
Trump made $4 billion today. If you've got that video, I'll more than happily play that video. Apparently he was bragging. Anyway, it's going to be some combination of in the national interest, turbocharge the economy. He's going to say something along the lines of strong and stable. You know, he's just going to say the same things he says over and over again. Because again, you know, it's a little bit like Trump in that it's very obvious when he completely doesn't understand a topic. Because it's like it's like the kid who didn't read the book who now has to give a book review in school and is just sort of making shit up based on the cover or the name of it. You know, like Trump. How many times I've lost track of how many times Trump has said we're going to bring down the price of groceries. Groceries, there's a word. It's an old-fashioned word. Groceries. People stopped using the word groceries. No, they didn't. At no point did anyone stop using the word groceries. You didn't bring groceries back. What the fuck are you talking about? It's just the same drivel. Because they don't understand these things, so they just fill time with rubbish.
To my mind, are not a phase, a passing phase. They're
here to stay.
They're here to stay. They usher in a new. I mean, they may vary in their rates, etc. And obviously, we will try to mitigate the impact of that.
Do we have to live with the 10% forever?
Literally, what his response here was, there are tariffs, they can go up and down, we will mitigate them. They're here to stay, even though they weren't here to stay because they went away after the interview was fucking conducted.
Amazing. What's this? Trump brags in the Oval Office about his billionaire friends made billions today following the stock market surge.
Oh yeah, I saw this one.
Okay, I haven't seen this one. Hang on. It's only 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. He's literally got Charles Schwab in there. Why aren't the right wing going mental? 15 minutes it is.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad. He's in financials. I've always been following.
Brilliant. So these two rich cunts made $5 billion between them.
Are you feeling? Is America great again? Did he bring back the jobs?
This definitely made America great again. Yeah. Having European oligarchs rinse your economy. Also, that a South African can sell you shit cars that fall apart because they're stuck together with glue.
Buy a Tesla. Buy a Tesla.
It's all computer.
Keen to get the 25% on cars and steel down, but is the 10% permanent?
Well, look, I don't know. We are negotiating and we hope to improve the situation. But what I mean...
Oh, for fuck's sake. He is just doing the same thing again. We're going to negotiate. We're going to work constructively with our partners and not panic and not do rash decisions. And oh, for fuck's
Calm and collected.
This is that simply thinking that any change in the rates or any deals is going to be enough, to my mind, is wrong. because just as we've done with defence and security, where we've recognised it's a changing world, we've got to step up and act differently, in that case with defence spend, coordinating better across Europe. So
yeah, we've stepped up and impoverished the disabled so that we can buy more exocets. Actually, that's an outdated piece of technology, but you get the idea. Yeah, fuck you, Starmer, you piece of shit.
With trade and the economy, we are actually, there's a changing world, we're entering a new era, we have to think and behave in a way that reflects that, and that's why we've turbocharged what we're doing on the economy. That's why we're talking to other countries about lowering trade barriers.
Now, you have had a...
I don't want to say I'm like Nostradamus or anything, chat, but I definitely did say he was going to say that, and he definitely did just say that. Fuck.
It's the same thing over and over and over again.
He is. He's a wind-up.
Like, you honestly could have asked any question. You literally could have had any question asked him.
It's one of those old dolls that you pull the string out of and let it go, and it says a thing. And it's
there was a snake in my boot.
Yeah, there's just 4 things he can say: turbocharge, no knee-jerk reaction, fix the foundations,
calm and collected, changing world,
theme park. There you go. That's what he can say.
I mean, to be fair, the theme park was a different thing, but it's just so fucking funny that in a discussion about the fucking the ends of globalization and an international recession, he's like, "Did you hear we got planning permission for a theme park?"
Like literally, it's so funny to me. Vote Labour, vote for change. I didn't realise meant mainly the theme park was the change that was going to happen.
I don't know why I find this so funny, but
it is pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh, if I didn't laugh, I'd cry.
I think this is the new rubber sniffing dogs.
It really is the new dingy rubber sniffing dogs. Yeah, it absolutely is.
Every time I'll tell you what it is. It's the banal ineffectiveness of both of those policies. Because it's not actually going to make a dent in anything.
The rubber sniffing doggies. Dude, not all there, I think.
Sozzle Snake absolutely preempted me with the bitty bits there. Talking about the rubber sniffing dogs again. Yeah.
A flurry of announcements this week, changing the rules for manufacturers of electric vehicles so that they're under less pressure to switch from diesel and petrol to electric vehicles. This ambitious deal to exploit really...
So literally we're going to be a green energy superpower, greenest government ever, the first sign of like fiscal chicanery, and it's you don't really need to change over to the electric cars for a bit. It's fine actually. Nah.
He also immediately came in and broke his promise about Rosebank as well.
Yeah, because he's a piece of shit. Like literally, he's got a fucking dickhead who is so neoliberal it's untrue, but is pretending not to be. Farage is just going to win by going, nationalise steel. He probably won't nationalise steel, but just saying it, people will go, something different. I'll vote for literally anything but the same wanker talking about strong and stable and fucking destroying the poor. Even though that's what fucking Farage wants to do anyway. But
Oh my god, Jim Speaks pointed out that the theme park is the monorail.
Oh.
We have Lyle Landley as our Prime Minister.
Yeah, it is. It is the monorail. Oh,
I've sold theme parks to Ogdenville and North Haverbrook. By gummit, put them on the map. By gummit, fix their fiscal headroom.
Oh, God.
Valuable health data with welcome. Today's announcement here about this ambitious universal theme park.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
These are all important.
No, they're not! No offence. Look, it'll create some jobs. Okay, fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but, like, it's not an important thing. We're talking here about global fucking financial catastrophe that might be about to happen. And you're like, but we are building a fucking a roller coaster. So
the thing is, it's not even like the building. It's the fact that it's had planning permission, fucking agreed for it. That's the thing, right? Is that the victory that he's saying here is we managed to do literally anything involving planning because the planning sector is just entirely held up by NIMBYs, right? That is how small fry our ambition is. That the biggest fight is not with the Trump administration trying to do anything like that. No. The biggest fight is with rural NIMBYs.
Yeah, the NIMBYs. So, but again, it's so fucking Starmer. Rather than take on the NIMBYs to build things we need, like houses, or a train line, or roads, or anything, theme park. Which we already have theme parks. It's like not that. Look, don't get me wrong. Again, it's in of itself is not a bad thing, but it's not a necessary thing. There are other priorities, surely. Nothing in this country works at all. It is broken and fucked. What we don't actually need is another fucking theme park.
I mean, what I will say is that it's hardly like people are travelling from across Europe to come to Chessington World of Adventures now, is it?
No, don't get me wrong. I've got no problem with it, but it's just like we can't. It struck me that I was watching a documentary about history, because that's obviously my fucking thing, about the first railway.
Nerd.
And I am a nerd. I'm both gay and poor and a nerd. Although it shouldn't be both, because those are three things, Kev. Well done. Anyway, I was about the first ever intercity railway between Liverpool and Manchester. And they've hated each other ever since. Anyway, and I was thinking to myself, we built the first ever of those. Like, literally, that's a thing that didn't exist, and then we made it exist. And now we can't do anything. We can't build any railways now. It's just impossible. We were able to do it 200 fucking years ago, and we can't do it now. We are less advanced than the pre-Victorians.
God, I mean, I can understand, right? That's the thing, is that so many boomers are like having like Britain decline kind of outrage, right? They're outraged at the decline of Britain, and their outrage is that it's slightly more brown than it used to be. And I'm just like, there are so many more depressing things that this country is in decline for, right? Like literally just what you said about like how we were like in an international kind of industrial powerhouse, and we in terms of civil infrastructure we created the world that we see today that everyone else uses, you know. That's a source of national pride, and we can't do that anymore. And it's these boomers, the ones that are blocking that shit, because they're like, oh, but what if we pave over Britain, because that means that we have to house migrants? I'm like, first of all, we still have 98% of it's only like, what, 2% of the land that's got residential housing built upon it. And second of all, like, we need trains.
Yes, we need just some things. Any things would be nice. Like, I'm trying to explain to older relatives and stuff that no one under the age of, like, 40 expects anything good to ever happen ever again.
Literally.
That's how bad the situation is for anyone vaguely young, is that you can't see anything positive ever happening.
We've written off the future.
Yeah, literally, because you've told us that it's in the national interest to never do good things ever again. You've set it impossible. Literally, and the only person who had any plan of vaguely positive for the future, and again, it was some soft soak shit when you look at it. It wasn't that fucking radical. It really, really wasn't. And you told us he was a Nazi. You said, no, he's a Nazi. You can't have it. Nope. No future for you.
Not allowed.
The future is Hamas. So you can't have one.
It's true.
And then you wonder why young people would happily stick Keir Starmer in a fucking post box and fill it with bees. You wonder why nobody, literally nobody, an empty space is preferable to any of the actual humans who want to be Prime Minister.
Oh, but then have you considered carefully? This is what the adults in the room looks like.
This is the adults in the room. This is sensibles. The king of the sensibles.
But they're not a brand new industrial strategy. So
honestly, and this is how you can tell the likes of fucking sensible cockhead O'Brien, right? This is how you can tell what a client journalist he is. Because if this was a Tory acting fucking noise, you cunt. Anyway, if this was a Tory leader acting in exactly the same way, he'd be up his arse. He'd be absolutely outraged. You're doing nothing. You're not standing up to Trump. This is a national disgrace. It's an outrage. Because the other team are doing it. Whereas now he's just like, no, he's playing a blinder. Yeah, no, he's fantastic. Yeah. Can we do another phone in about Brexit, please? No. Fucking hell.
are we going to get something powerful, comprehensive, coherent to make us a faster growing, more competitive economy?
Well, across each of the sectors, that's precisely what we're doing in partnership with business. And the announcement we made on the Z mandate, on life sciences and clinical trials, they're a down payment for the sort of measures that we'll be taking in those sectors and other sectors. Don't underestimate.
But
the
you accept
importance-
this is some of this.
So we've got concepts of a plan to expand from these nebulous things I've said.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Keith. Hear me out. Prime Minister Gary Lineker, I'm on board. I'm on board. At least he's like against genocide. Just that, even if you had every single policy that was the same, but the genocide would be an improvement.
Yeah, literally.
What Universal Studios theme will it be? The Purge? ? Thank you, question. You know what? Again, because we see no hope in the future, fuck it. Yeah, why not? Bring it on.
Go for him.
We haven't got enough housing, so we need to thin out the herd. Let's just do it. Fuck it.
This stuff would have happened anyway. This is not the new approach yet,
Well,
is it?
don't underestimate the significance of today's announcement. That's billions of pounds into our economy.
I'm not underestimating any of it, but what I'm saying
Fuck
is you
again!
need to be bolder.
He's talking about the theme park, isn't he? Don't underestimate the theme park. The theme park is very important. Oh, for I thought when he said the announcement today, I was like, did I miss an announcement? Did something happen that I've completely missed? No, he is actually talking about the fucking theme park. Oh, for fuck's sake. The Universal Monorail will save us. Fucking hell. Honest, I did. My hopes for you were so low, Keith. They were so low, and you still managed to somehow not clear the bar that was below the ground.
Kev, I can't believe you're underestimating the significance of the theme park.
Of the theme park. He's limboed under the fucking pole, the subterranean pole of expectations I had for him. Planning permission, yeah. Like, he's bragging about some shit like this like it's the local council. The local council giving planning permission for this would be big news. That'll make the local paper, the fucking Cheshire Gazette or whatever, right? Yeah, that's fine, but you're the Prime Minister of the entire 70 million people, mate. It's a fucking theme park. Get some perspective. Fucking Christ.
And this is on top of the tea rubber sniffing dog as well. You pull out all the stops.
Well, once you stop the boats, those dogs are going to be out of work, but you're going to need security dogs at the massive Purge fucking dome or whatever it's going to be called. Fuck me. He is. Oh my God. He's doing prime ministerial Sim City. He's just building random bits. He's going to build a health clinic. I hope there are enough concession stands.
A community diagnostic centre.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck me. Thank you, Andrej. Apologies, my friend. Yeah, thank you for gifting a sub. Much love to you. Don't forget, you can give us both money so that we can go to the Universal theme park. That's definitely how we will spend our money, I'm sure.
As Weejock Poopong McClot points out in chat, if you don't think that the theme park will advance the class struggle, you're possibly not understanding social democracy from a Marxist viewpoint.
Ah, yes. Oh, Mason posting. That's what we need. Oh God! Did you see Mason? Fucking obviously rimming the arse off him. Going on about the fantastic leadership, played a blinder from Keir Starmer, allied to the world-class diplomacy of our team in Washington. He's literally Epstein's mate. He's literally bigging up Epstein's mate.
Love it.
Brilliant. Thanks. Thanks, Paul. Really, you are the 21st century Marx in
Absolutely.
so many ways.
The adults are well and truly in the room.
They've never been more roomy and adulty.
You need to be more ambitious.
We want to go further and faster. What you'll notice from the decision today is that Universal are saying because we were able to act quickly. The negotiations for the announcement today in earnest only began in the autumn, and here we are making the announcement. That's the sort of change that we need to bring about, knocking out...
You're bragging about going from the autumn to nearly the summer and negotiating planning permission for one theme park. And that's a thing you're bragging about. Well, that's a great achievement. I'm sorry. Is this person a ward councillor in a district council? What is this?
In a rotten borough.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, mate? You're the Prime Minister. And he's literally saying to you, you need to be more ambitious. No, I don't need to be more ambitious. The theme park is all you need. Why won't the plebs understand that the theme park is everything they've ever needed? More, boy!
I wonder why people feel like we've lost our position in the world.
Yeah, can't help but feel that Gladstone had slightly more on his mind than a theme park. You know. No, to be fair, he also had killing brown people and taking over their land on his mind. But we don't need to go back quite that badly. But if we could go back to the bit where we build things, like bridges and roads and things.
That'd be nice,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Not the barriers, getting on with the decisions, what we're doing on planning and infrastructure.
Getting on with the decisions.
Because that means
just drink that in for a second, chat. Sorry to pause Andy the fuck out of this, but drink in the sentence, get on with the decisions. Not, this is our plan, not this is the kind of thing we're going to do, which will lead to just the generic concept of getting on with decisions. Is this fucking absolute dirt box's plan for the nation to get on with just generic decision making? That's all we need. Honestly, it's breathtakingly shit. Really.
Honestly, we could cancel all content and just watch Keir Starmer interviews, and there's just so much that it's incredible for someone who says so little. There's so much content to make because he's really just so rubbish at this.
Yeah, he's really shit at this. And now, I mean, he was like this before, but now we've got the added advantage of him trying really desperately to sell a theme park as some sort of panacea for the nation's problems. It's genius. Well done, Keith. Well done.
Housing and infrastructure projects across the country can be done more quickly, at speed, and that means more announcements like the announcement today, which is going to be reflected in
still talking about it.
Thousands of jobs in Bedford and Bedfordshire, billions of pounds into our economy, and careers for many of the people living and working in this area.
So frustratingly, we were almost out of time. So much more I would want to ask. One last question, though. Look, President Trump accepts that we have balanced trade with his country, and yet he has still hit us with 10% tariffs across the board, 25% on steel and cars. In 2020, you chatted to my colleague Paul Brown on an ITV podcast, and he asked you, President Trump or President Putin, which one will you choose? You said, neither. That's a choice nobody should have to make. Let's change them both. Back...
No one wants to see that.
No one wants to see that. President Trump? No. It's almost like they were desperately hoping he wouldn't be elected. Desperately.
Considering the opinions of many people before the election, I don't think people thought he was going to get elected.
Yeah. Well, certainly people who were calling him a fascist, like, let's say the current Foreign Secretary, who's now a ballless wonder. Yeah, he did.
But he's not a fascist. He bought him some lovely food.
He did buy him some lovely food.
2 whole meals.
Yum, yum, yum.
Tasty boot.
Then you were right, weren't you?
Well, I didn't get to choose the president of any other country. President Trump...
See, this is another way you're not like Gladstone. We used to choose presidents of loads of countries. And now we're so shit, we don't even get to properly manipulate other people's fucking democracy.
To be fair, we did manipulate their democracy. We sent over Jonathan Ashworth and he lost them the election.
That is true. Honestly, Trump should be giving us a fucking discount on the tariffs just for that. We sent over, what can only be described as like political cyanide to your opponent. You can thank us, mate, by just dropping the tariffs, please, if you don't mind. Thank you. But anyway, vote Green, get rid of Ashworth.
Has got an amazing mandate, historic second term, and we have a
Not
very
historic.
What are you talking about? Historic?
Many presidents have had second terms.
It's not even historic in the sense that he's the first non-consecutive multi-term president, because that's Grover Cleveland. So in no way is it historic, other than he's the oldest cunt to have ever occupied that office.
And he's also like wasn't even a large mandate. It was a very, very small mandate.
Yeah.
It was a very, very close election.
True. But look, Keir Starmer's not going to admit that, because his was even closer, but yet managed to get a massive majority. So he's not got a leg to stand on when it comes to, let's say, iffy electoral processes. Legal, but iffy.
relationship between our countries. I have a good relationship with the President. That's in our national interest. We'll continue in that vein.
Prime Minister, as always.
Absolutely fucking worthless, worthless human being.
I mean, it's true, but talking about the theme park was very funny.
It was very good. And the fact, it's not just talking about it, but like talking about it like it really means anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I don't want to do this
just
anymore.
opening one factory, like it shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be a thing that gets brought up as if it's that's the national, that's the scope for dreaming big that we have as a nation. Is just we can give, not even build, because it hasn't happened yet. It could be shit. Who knows? It could be a complete flop. We can get building permission. We can get planning permission to potentially build a theme park.
The concept of a theme park.
We've got the concept of a theme park is as much as we can do. You wanted change, we've got planning permission.
And that's the change that he'll bring about.
True. Fuck,
Didn't see any new theme parks under the Tories now, did you? No.
No, that is true. They didn't build any theme parks. Yeah. Thank you, Vicky Clue says, Kev, ask Helena to check the link I sent, read that theme park and the date. Well, they've heard that message. They can do with that as they wish. I can't make them check the link.
Breaking news. Universal Studios confirmed they are planning a theme park in Bedford Borough from 2023.
Okay.
By 2030, potentially.
Okay, that seems...
Potentially by 2030.
Potentially, so not even guaranteed by 2030. Okay. So Keir Starmer will never see that thing done whilst he's Prime Minister, because he'll be gone by then.
I mean, he'll be gone even quicker than that, to be honest, if the polls continue the way they are.
Yeah, Prime Minister Streeting might see, but Starmer won't. No. I
mean, to be fair, in a world which is, rattling over the cliff, we need someone strong at the helm. Quite frankly, my prediction was that it would be Bridget Phillipson that would take over from Keir Starmer if he got ousted and there was a leadership spill. And you know what? A thick Macam accent being at the top of the country negotiating. I think that's a strong hand.
The most working class Prime Minister ever, probably. Maybe Wilson. I don't know. They're close. Anyway, hello there, Mix Vivian Wolf. By the way, everyone go and follow Mix Vivian Wolf for being an awesome co-host with the interview with Marsley. She was very good. I felt like I needed a trans person there so that it's not just.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's not just a fucking cis dude stumbling over the issue like a twat. Yes. Hang on, noise happened, didn't it? Oh no, we already read it. Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Oh, tons I want to talk to you about there.
Back to fucking middle-aged Rittenhouse.
Gavin, but I don't know if you noticed the one message that Keir Starmer was desperate to get out, he repeated it time and again,
turbocharge,
was that with the cost of UK government borrowing going up, he was desperate to tell investors he's not going to change those fiscal rules. But the thing about those fiscal rules, as I said to him, is the economy's slowing down. It means almost inevitably that under those fiscal rules, he will have to put up taxes or cut spending in the autumn, which would make the slowdown worse. So is he right to be so obsessed about keeping these fiscal rules?
So I think it was a mistake for the Chancellor to leave herself with so little headroom again. I mean, I think you're exactly right. We're in real danger of being back in the same position in the autumn. And that means we spend the whole summer talking about that, and that just talks the economy down. To answer your question directly, I don't think he has much...
Talking of what we're going to talk about over the summer, did you see the Labour comms team with an absolute blinder? They like dropping a terrible policy just before a break, so it's the only thing that gets talked about.
Incredible. Before we move on to that, I just want to say thank you for the rage, James, from the internet. It is Raid Central. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're through to the Non-Justice stream. We talk about UK politics from a socialist perspective, 6 days a week. If that sounds like your thing, please drop a follow. You can also follow my friend Kevin Logan, who you must almost certainly be completely unaware of if you're a James from the internet viewer, who is currently, that's KF Logan 1875 over on Twitch. Please go and follow Kev.
I don't want to do this anymore!
Don't follow me. I don't want the riffraff. The kind of fucking scum that festers over on the James from the Internet channel. Get fucked.
But yes, you can also subscribe on my YouTube channel. That's at NoJusticeMCG. And if you're in my chat over on YouTube and over on Twitch, go and follow James from the Internet. That's twitch.tv/James from the Internet, all a singular word. Go and do the follow.
Indeed. Stu Lamb says, Kev, 2023 when Tories were in office, not Labour. What did I say about 2023?
Well, that was when the planning permission was applied for in 2023. What he was celebrating was the fact that the planning permission was granted.
It's been granted, yeah. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair enough, Stu. Thank you for the donation anyway. Much love. Anyway, yes. So their fantastic policy decision to drop the regional investigations into grooming gangs. So that.
That was dropped today, just before the fucking recess.
Yeah, literally, before the recess, they like dropping a terrible policy. And so now all the right wing are going to be frothing for the next fortnight before Parliament gets back about how the thing that they did to head off the national investigation was, we're going to do these regional ones, so you don't need to worry. And everyone went, okay then. And now they're not even going to bother with that. I mean,
adults in the room. Master strategist Morgan McSweeney.
Jess Phillips, who thankfully is going to lose her seat, can't wait. You are a feminist and a person who claims to care about women and girls. Why, as the minister in charge of this, did you feel it was okay for you to get up and announce that in Parliament and not resign? Because that's a fucking terrible thing that you are doing in terms of ignoring the plight of women and girls in this country. Like, you're literally just selling them down the river because it's politically convenient and because Morgan McSweeney says so.
Great, I love this. Everything's going very swimmingly, isn't it?
Fantastic, yeah. No. But what I love is covers up of pedophilia. What? That's your policy. That's the policy you want to go in with. That you're having to fight off this notion that he allowed Jimmy Savile to walk when he was the fucking director of public prosecutions, and now you're like, actually, we're not going to have any investigations into those child rapes at all. Do you want? Why are you insistent on looking like maniacal bastards? Really, like just cartoonishly evil.
Because, like, literally, I mean, again, just the timing is it's hysterical. Like, literally, like, the last time there was the recess over Christmas, which we I guess they kind of did okay with, but the recess over the fucking autumn, all we talked about was the winter fuel allowance. All we talked about was winter fuel.
Yeah, I mean, they're shit before a recess, but just before a recess, they're like, how can we be super mega shit so that all we get is bad coverage for the rest of the time before we come back?
Yep.
Brilliant. Honestly, their comms team. I mean, I assume it's not a comms team. I assume it's a monkey at a typewriter. Is the only thing that makes sense to me. Fucking genius.
Yeah, he's literally the only thing that could possibly make sense.
He has these rules to tell everybody he's going to stick by them.
Because you think investors would take pride?
If the moment you say, well, I'm not sure we're going to stick with them, they're meaningless. But the reality is...
And you think at that point, because there's no anchor for the deficit at that point...
No, there are plenty of anchors there, trust me.
You think actually interest rates will be forced up by the markets,
Correct.
do you?
But I also think you're right, fundamentally, which is that if the situation in the autumn was really bad, if the black hole, as it were, was very large, the government.
In terms of the inquiries, you can argue whether they're necessary or not. Probably not in some respects. Probably not, because there have been other investigations and things. But like, once you've announced this, and like I said, they headed off at the pass. The idea, it was Elon Musk and all this shit about the grooming gangs, right? And it became an issue for like 48 hours.
Yeah.
And so they headed it off in Parliament by saying we're going to have these regional ones. And everyone went, okay, it's not ideal, but whatever, fine. At least we'll get some answers. And now they're just like, no, we're just gonna whitewash the potential pederastic rape of lots of children. Like, again, I can only really repeat, why do you want to look evil?
It's just the master strategist at work.
Yeah, the adults are in the room.
Might well judge that changing the rules was part of the solution. The scale of the tax cut rises or spending cuts
because in a
is too big.
downturn, and we saw this frankly with George Osborne and David Cameron. You cut when the economy's weak, it gets worse.
And so if you look at what Jeremy Hunt did when he had to recover the situation post Liz Truss.
Hang on a minute, Robert. Are you telling me that the economy gets worse if you do austerity? I who paid attention to the news every year between 2010 and 2016. I'm hearing of this.
Well, I mean, it's not like Robert Peston was one of the lead economists on national TV during that whole time. Oh, no, he was. Oh, shit. See, that would lead me to think that Robert Peston is a shitbag who's been lying to everyone for many years.
Yep.
Along with lots of his colleagues in order to manufacture consent for the evisceration of the poor of this nation. In cahoots with the kind of scum that you see on the screen there. This fucking evil baby that's also a 50-year-old.
Mini budget, he actually did some cuts, some tax rises, and some changes to the rules because it was too big a gap to just do one.
Absolutely. Gavin, back to you in a minute or two, but Anusha's got some stuff to share with us.
Thank you. Last week we showed you that most people do not see Keir Starmer as a disruptor, but for Nigel Farage, it was a different story. This is the results of that survey all about him. Bear with me. More in Common asked voters what they thought of...
What in the fuck is this fucking day-to-day ass fucking graph they've got going on here? This is like a PragerU graph. Negative traits, higher level of agreement. What the fuck is this? What is this? Positive trait. Oh, this is rubbish. This is rubbish. Go over. This is a brass eye graph.
Farage, and whether certain traits are bad here on the left or good over here on the right. Also, whether the trait is a good description of said politician towards the top or bad towards the bottom. So up across the top are the traits that people do associate with Nigel Farage. The bad ones over here include being disruptive, unpredictable, out of touch, chaotic, reckless even, while the good ones over here is that he is seen as straight-talking, bold and decisive. Has he just shown us...
Slow-moving is a particular one. What the fuck does that mean? What, like he walks like a fucking T-Rex?
I can't... Yeah.
What does slow-moving mean? Cautious, responsible, reassuring? Okay.
That.
Fantastic.
Nigel Farage has called for the re-nationalisation of British Steel, which runs the
Which
works
could win him an
in
election.
Scunthorpe. But
honestly.
It could very well, yeah.
The only... well, I mean, the Greens are as well, but unfortunately their cut-through at the minute is pretty fucking weak.
And you know what? They only have themselves to blame.
For what? Well, how?
For their cut-through being bad.
Yeah, but like, to what end? In what way?
Because they don't bother trying to cut through. It's literally as simple as that, you know? That their attempt at cutting through was, we're going to put up a set of scales outside the Treasury.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? Literally, just send all of your MPs to Scunthorpe and then send them all to Port Talbot and get them in a hard hat. Like, unfortunately, this is how politics works. Get them in a hard hat next to a fucking piece of machinery and someone with coal dust on their face or whatever. And fucking, make it look like they give a shit. Like, Farage went to Scunthorpe, a place he'd never been to and never wants to go back to, much like his own constituency, I suppose. But he goes there and goes, yeah, we should nationalise this shit. And also, fuck the water companies. Honestly, like, he's the only person who seems to be trying to win the election.
It's true. It's true. He's the only no. I mean, Ed Davey is trying and failing to look like he wants to win the election.
By hobby
To be
horsing,
fair.
yes. But, you know, hobby horsing and one-on-one on FIFA is you know, is a
real
plan.
adult in the room.
Yeah. No, fair play to him. Look, he's actually, I don't mind the silliness. It's fine. It gets publicity. Like, at least, again, at least he's trying to do cut-through. Like, him fucking surfboarding is dumb, but it made the news and people still talk about it, which is more than most politicians could possibly hope for.
Yeah, exactly. Certainly more cut through than the fucking Greens.
Yeah, so, like, send the tiny queen, as much as I like her, send her to fucking Scunthorpe. Send her to, do a fucking protest outside Thames Water, now. Make a fucking noise outside Thames Water and say, they're stealing our fucking money and pumping shit into our water. Stop being nice. It doesn't do anything.
Yep, quite literally.
No, it's easy for me to say, I know, but, like, still. Ugh.
The Chinese owners of British Steel, Jingye, say they are losing £700,000 a day, or £255 million.
Okay, well, say we'll take it off your hands then. If you're losing money, right, we will take that loss from you. We will alleviate that pressure from you by taking Scunthorpe into national ownership, and we'll sort it. Perfect. Okay. Cool. Like the same with fucking with Thames Water. You're losing all this money. You need a loan. No, you don't. We'll take that responsibility from you.
Literally. Well, even when you should block the loan.
Yeah, well, exactly. That should have happened to start off with. But like, if you're that bad at running a business that you need a fucking loan all the time, no. We will do you the favour, gratis. Honestly, you can thank us later, lads. We'll take it into public ownership, and like no one. It's so annoying because even most Tories support like rail nationalisation because it's been a disgrace, it's been a disaster. Most people really don't like the post office being the way it is now. Like literally, did you see the post office? Another privatisation success story, right? They're now having a special stamp made with the NHS on it, not to commemorate the NHS, but so that the medical letters that the NHS send out will be given priority and definitely get there on time so people don't miss appointments.
Yes, because they're changing the delivery schedule from 6 days a week to 3 days a week, potentially.
Exactly,
That's why they need the stamp, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, how about we have a system like we used to have where letters just got there on fucking time? Where we just delivered the letters. Do you remember that, when we had that system? That worked quite well for 100 fucking years.
Crazy idea. It'll never catch on.
Jesus Christ. And a Labour Party with a massive majority has the opportunity to change the game, to start taking these things into public ownership and showing that you can fucking work that system, that you can turn these things around with public investment. But no, Keir Starmer is a fucking useless human being, briefcase in a suit, dickhead. So he's not going to do any of that. He's not going to do any of that.
This is what the whole kind of majority was for, so you can do what you want with no fucking opposition.
Yeah.
I mean, one can only assume then. The only logical assumption is they just don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. They just don't want to because they're the Tories. Literally, I was reading in the article about they're potentially thinking about doing something with Scunthorpe, and the Welsh nationalists, the Plaid Cymru, were saying, well, why is it okay that you're doing this for Scunthorpe in England, but you wouldn't do it for Port Talbot in Wales? And it's quite right. And literally, they showed the thing. We voted for change, right? The Labour Party, vote for change. Fucking Baldrick himself told us. Literally, the same deal was offered to the people at Port Talbot from the Labour government that came in that was exactly the same that was on the table with the Tories. Literally not a penny difference.
Yep, and it was just a fucking subsidy. It was just throwing £500 million at Tata Steel.
Yeah, they're the Tories. We literally didn't get change. No change happened. It's just a continuation. Continuation of fucking Osborneism.
Thank you, Jack, for the $4.99.
A year
Reminder,
on
by the way,
site,
that the
a
state cannot. Reminded, by the way, that the state cannot lose money. It could own steel, rail, mail, water, and energy, and never have to worry about running out of money. Basically true, yeah?
Yeah.
Big cost to swallow, especially when Britain is making less and less steel. This chart shows economic output overall in blue, manufacturing in yellow, tracking that. But steel has been much less stable in red and has now fallen to less than 0.1% of UK economic output.
Jesus
Is
Christ.
renationalisation a pretty expensive?
Again, we used to have places like Sheffield, which was the foundry of the world. Now, we're never going to get back to that, and we shouldn't try really to aim for that, because that would be an unachievable dream. But we could make some flopping steel. Just some. Surely. It's that beyond us that we can't have anything? We literally can't have any good things ever again. In fact, any good things that are still happening, we need to stop those good things from happening.
The things is like the backbone of like their industrial strategy is say they're going to have a new military military spending, right? So they're going to do military manufacturing, and there's going to be in like forgotten backwater towns that have been ruined since post-industrial towns, you know?
Yeah.
That's where they say they're going to do it. And you know what? I don't want it to be military spending, but if we're going to be doing military investment into new production, I'm glad that they want to do it in these forgotten, deindustrialized areas that they're going to be losing folks in. These are areas that need more investment. And if you want to have an industry that makes military-grade hardware, you need military-grade steel, which is quite literally the steel that we make, the high-quality military-grade stuff in Port Talbot and Scunthorpe, right? That's what they specifically exist to do. They can't afford to close if you want to have your fucking, military Keynesianism thing.
Yeah. No, but that's metal communism. Which, to be fair, sounds fucking badass. Let's do that.
Expensive risk.
It's certainly pretty expensive, Anushka. Now, I'm delighted to be joined by Nigel Farage. Very good to see you. A ton of stuff to get through. If I could just start with tariffs.
Why is the lighting on that house?
Why is he him? Ugh. I can't believe I'm near him the other day. Ugh.
Why is it green? Who lights their house like that? That's just a bit weird.
The President's put on pause the higher tariffs, but still 10% across the world, 125% on China, 25% on steel and motor cars. Are you a free trader, or do you believe in tariffs?
No, I'm a free trader. I always have been. I've never thought tariffs would work, although I fully understand why he's fighting a tariff war with China. And if we're not...
You fucking bull licker. Shut the fuck up. Like, he's gotten such an easy ride with this shit. Like, Trump is trying to fuck us senseless right now, and this little Lord Haw-Haw prick is just allowed to swan around like he wasn't a part of it. Like he's some distant character.
Careful, we'll find our car industry being replaced by China. But the problem is tariffs in history have never, ever worked. Today's move is interesting. I mean, of course, Trump uses tariffs in many ways as part of a negotiation. But don't forget, something very unusual has happened over the course of the last couple of weeks. We haven't just had stock markets falling heavily, we've had bond markets falling as well. And that's very unusual. Normally, when stock markets fall, bonds rally. But because of the levels of indebtedness in America and in the UK, we had both of those things going wrong at the same time. And, when people like Bill Ackman, who...
Well, maybe him wanting to spend $1 trillion on the next military budget and increase the indebtedness by taking less tax in probably won't help that situation in the long run.
Wait, I'm literally doing a Liz Truss.
Yeah.
Wanting to spend more money, wanting to give a tax cut. That's literally what she did. Tax cuts for billionaires and loads of, new debt.
Yeah. Also, just a quick shout out to Cenk Uygur, who wanted to work with Elon Musk on cutting the Pentagon budget, because Trump was definitely going to do that, wasn't he? You fucking clown.
He's just like the infinite lol cow, isn't he?
He's just a joke, honest to God. The polymarket populists.
who were very, very big promoters, massive fund manager, big promoters of Trump, start saying, hey, you're getting this wrong. So this is a response to the markets. Of that, I've little doubt.
So it was, as you...
So he bottled it. He bottled it completely. Lost his arse, shat his pants, and completely changed course. Which,
He didn't have the cards.
He didn't have
Kev.
the cards. He didn't. You've got no cards, and it turned out the Emperor's got no cards. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh fuck! I had a point, but I got lost. I got track of my cards.
You say absolutely terrifying to see the rise in what America has to pay to borrow. So just to be absolutely clear, you agree with Bill Ackman that the US president just got it wrong?
Too much, too quickly, too soon. I do think when it comes to China, I mean, just look, I mean, you know, steel was mentioned in my introduction. Look at the way that China dumped steel on the UK market. Lost leader for them, but a great way of putting out of production Britain and many other parts of the world. So there are times when tariff might be appropriate.
You've literally you opened the thing by saying tariffs have never worked. And now you're saying actually there might be situations where tariffs can work.
It's almost like he just wants to say wherever he needs to get Trump on side.
Yeah. It's pathetic. Honestly.
The general rule of thumb, it doesn't work.
And just so that I understand your position in a more general sense, you're plainly distancing yourself from this central plank of Donald Trump's economic policy. More generally, are you putting a bit of a gap between yourself and the American president?
No, I didn't agree with it back in 2017, back in the first term. But as I say,
but you still rimmed his arsehole for that entire time. Also, what the fuck is wrong with your teeth? Jesus Christ. It's like a fucking... It's piano keys.
So it's a row of tombstones.
Oh my word.
Does these things mostly as a negotiating position. I agree with Trump on scrapping DEI. I agree with Trump that we need proper border controls in our countries.
Scrapping DEI. I still want to know what the fuck that even means in practice. What does that mean?
I mean, he hasn't scrapped DEI though. It's just the protected characteristic is stupidity.
That is true. That is true.
They've been giving government departments tax breaks for hiring idiots.
Still my favourite bit from that, yeah. And Sam said, they don't pay tax. It's a government department. What are you talking about? That would just be the government paying itself and then handing it back.
To protect who we are, our heritage and our culture. I agree with Trump.
Here we go, heritage and culture. He doesn't want to say race. Because that's a bad word now.
Globalist organisations like the European Union, the World Health Organization do more.
Would you say that Charles Schwab is a globalist? Because Trump was literally just noshing him off in the fucking Oval Office, mate. He took $4 billion. So, like, I mean, you will eat the bugs.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
More harm than good. So I agree with him on many, many things. Tariff, I've never agreed on.
And can I just find, we're going to go to the break in a second. This is a quick yes or no, because I'm then going to want to talk to you in more detail about steel in general. We have seen our steel industry collapse.
Well, being a Trump fan, surely he wants to stop the steel.
Hey.
Even in the case of steel, you don't think there's a case for protecting British steel by putting in place a tariff in the UK to protect our tiny remaining steel industry?
No. Sorry, you've got the wrong end of the stick here. We are deindustrialising at a rapid rate. Cement making, refining, chemicals,
and we can't
steel.
protect...
Whoa. I'll have you know I have got a whole plantation of concrete trees. Okay? Mike Graham told us we could grow it, and I made it happen. We've got all the concrete we could ever need.
That with tariffs.
The list goes on and on. No, we do it by having a sensible energy policy. Ours is insane. The net zero
for
agenda
God's sake.
has been signed.
The net zero stopping us making things at all. Brilliant.
It's just the fact that we make expensive military grade steel, which is a very, very costly process to do.
Yeah,
it's being undermined by the level of cheaper steel that is throughout the market because of the fact that people elsewhere make it cheaper than we do, because their labour and materials costs are lower. This is why we put tariffs in place.
But to be honest with you, the net zero thing is very much the Reform Party's version of the Lib Dems and Brexit. There's nothing that they won't blame
It really
net
is.
zero on. Even though it's
Yeah.
not, it's not even really fucking happening. He's already pushed back the electric car stuff. Like, it's not going to happen, or at least not anywhere anytime soon.
End up to, with the Conservatives, Labour Party, and almost all of mainstream media is destroying British industry. We have the most expensive energy in the world, and we have to change it, and change it very, very.
Okay,
Fuck all to do with net zero, dickhead.
Literally, I mean, the cheapest energy in Europe is in Denmark and Sweden, and they have even more renewable energy than we do.
Yeah.
They're even closer to net zero, and they have cheaper energy than we do. Now we have a problem with the system that we've got, the issue with over privatization, right? Like in Denmark, they have like this giant fucking state-owned energy provider, which has huge amounts of investment in things like offshore wind, which they've got loads of it in the Germanic Sea. I forget which one it is.
Which one?
The one between, like, that's to the west of Denmark, between Denmark and Norway.
Baltic?
Is it still technically the Baltic? Maybe well, be the Baltic Sea. Either way, they've got loads of
The
investment
Gulf of
in.
Bothnia?
That's probably it. Yeah,
Okay.
but they've got loads of wind power in their territorial waters, right? So, in fact, so much wind power that even the state-owned energy supplier is refusing to build more because it's so cheap they can't run it at a profit.
Yeah.
That's how cheap energy is in Denmark because they've built loads of wind power, right?
Oh,
So his point makes no sense.
yeah. I've got a plan though. I know how to get Nigel Farage and his ilk on side with nationalising power. Instead of calling it like Great British Energy or Great British Power, we call it White Power. Come on now, you know they'd be for it because they're fucking idiots who wouldn't understand anything, and then we could have like energy at a price that didn't like freeze pensioners to death. Just the same people, think about it. Modern problems, modern solutions. Let's go.
Very quickly. I'm not sure the Prime Minister or the Chancellor even understand this.
So, as you say, energy is terribly important, and it's a complicated issue. I'm going to come back and talk to you about...
Are you not going to take it? Are you just going to ignore all of that shit that he just spouted there, Robert? Thank you. What fantastically responsible journalism.
Literally, someone just saying a whole bunch of nonsense, right? No challenging on, like, can you explain why you think that net zero is the problem with our energy market? Can you explain the mechanism? Can you tell us what you mean by that? No, just, okay, so net zero is the problem. Well, there you go. That's Nigel Farage's view. Totally uncritical.
Yeah, ridiculous. And you wonder why fascism's on the rise. Well, there's also the neoliberal economics. But in terms of the media, it's because they've given a free ride to this dickhead for 30 fucking years now.
Yep.
the future of steel in just a minute. Stay with us. See you in a minute.
Yeah, thanks. I don't think we need the funny nonsense in between. I know, this is with the mooch. What? Oh no, that's shortly. No, I don't want to fucking listen to the mooch.
I'm pleased to say that Reform leader Nigel Farage is still here. Many of us were surprised, shall we say, when you announced earlier this week that you're in favour of nationalising British steel in Scunthorpe. I mean, I always thought you were on the right of the centre. You're not a socialist, are you?
No, although, given what Keir Starmer's been saying lately, he sounds way to the right of the Conservative Party, so surprising.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Dunking on him. Oh.
I mean, if he's right, he's right.
Yeah, no, you know what? You've got to hand it to him. Absolutely flexed on him. Fucking hell. This is how far we've come, people.
Things can happen. The difference is, I've been consistent on this. I've been warning very publicly ever since the Chinese, Jinghe, bought British steel. I've been saying from the start they bought
God. So I was joking about calling it white power, right? And he's like, no, we're going to nationalise it for racist reasons.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I don't. It's not racist. I'm going to call it racist reasons. Like, it's nationalist reasons, right? It should be owned by the British because we think it should be
Well, no, if it was
nationally
owned by
owned,
Americans or Australians, you wouldn't care. It's the fact that it's
I mean,
Chinese.
I think you're right, but unless he says that, you can't really intuit too far. But
I think that's delightfully not necessarily naive, but whatever of you, because like you know exactly. Yeah, you're far too generous with him. Like you know that's what he is. Like the fact that he doesn't say it, of course he doesn't say it. He never fucking says it. He says culture and heritage and national security, but he means scary Chinese person. We can't sell to the Chinese. If it was a foreign white person owning it, not a problem. You know.
That's the thing. But I was saying this the entirety of the time when Keir Starmer was leader of the party, right? Thank you, Vanessa, by the way, for the 20 gifted and 3p for the 10 gift. I just missed both of your gifties. Thank you very much for supporting the stream today. But throughout the time when Keir Starmer was leader, I was making this point over and over and over again, is that if you refuse to make the class-based case for nationalisation, a right-winger will make the nationalist case for nationalisation, because we all know that the privatisation of loads of industries has failed.
Yeah.
But because Keir Starmer wants to not look too socialist, he's refusing to make the socialist argument for it. And so it's left the door wide open for Nigel Farage to make it a nationalist issue. Yeah. So it's not economics. This is about geopolitics for him, you know?
Yeah. To close it down. It was very obvious to me what was going on. And I have to say, if by the end of this week, if by Friday, orders have not gone in for coking coal and for iron ore pellets, then by the middle of May, we will become the only country in the G20 that is not a producer of primary steel. And so I take the view...
Wow, if only your fucking heroine, Margaret Thatcher, can we get some lols in chat for her still being fucking dead, hadn't destroyed and hollowed out the industrial base of this nation.
And I wonder who... Yeah, if only his ideological predecessor hadn't sold it to Jingye in the first place.
Yep.
And particularly given we're going to increase spending on defence, the world's a very uncertain place. You already in this programme have talked with the Prime Minister about this big new theme adventure park that's going to be built in Bedfordshire. I mean, that's going to need tens of thousands of tonnes of steel. We should be producing that here in our country, consuming it, using it, procuring it in our country. Steel is a vital strategic national asset. So I've gone for nationalisation.
He's partially right here, but the thing is that we make very high quality steel at Scunthorpe and at Port Talbot. So it's not going to get used for the theme park. No. It will get used for military purposes, and so he's right to say that it's strategically important if we want to increase our military capacity through domestic manufacturing. But the vast majority of the steel that we make, the high quality military grade steel that comes out of Port Talbot and Scunthorpe, that gets exported. We import cheap rebar and shit like that for our own industrial capacity that we use ourselves. And that's the kind of thing that would go into making a roller coaster. But for military grade steel, that would be the national reason for wanting it for strategic purposes.
Yeah.
If we don't get a deal of any kind at all by Friday, it's the end of steel production in Britain. It's the end of us, literally the end of us as an industrial nation. So let's nationalise it.
But you pointed out we don't have a competitive advantage in steel. We are absolutely world class in services. You made your money in services. This company is losing...
Wow, you made your money, so therefore no one else can ever make any money or useful thing in any other department. Brilliant. Well, you're an economist, are you? All right, Robert? Respected economist.
Apparently so, right? I mean, let me do a quick school check. Let me have a look. Let me check him.
Although bizarrely, of course, fucking Farage went to a private school as well, so they're probably both wankers. But
although to be fair, at least Farage didn't go to university.
Didn't he? Oh, I didn't know that.
No, he didn't. He.
Oh shit! Hang on.
Went to Highgate Secondary School.
Fucking earphone, so I literally can't hear you a second. Yellow.
Oh, I've been corrected. Apparently, if we were going to make roller coasters, it would be military grade steel.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Preston went to comprehensive, but he studied PP at Oxford.
What a fucking surprise!
£700,000 a day. Are you sure this is a good use of taxpayer? Are you sure this is a good use of taxpayers' money?
Jingay wanted this to fail. They didn't buy it for economic reasons. They bought it to close it down. So that China becomes ever more important.
Why did they buy it?
See? I told you it was just going to be racist about it.
Oh, come on. Like, I just want to check the state ownership percentage of Jingye.
The Chinese government wanted to destroy Britain through Scunthorpe.
I mean, it almost feels like it is a it's literally doing fucking Red Scare propaganda here.
Yeah, he's doing conspiracy theory nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, to beat the communists, you must accept communism, steal communism.
Well, bizarrely, that is essentially the foundation of the welfare state, in essence. The reason that so many Western governments accepted is A, because it was sort of backed up by American money, and secondly, they didn't want their populace turning towards communism. And as soon as the threat of the USSR disappears, all of a sudden, all of those safety nets and public ownership just disappears.
I mean, you pretty much bang on the money there. I mean, I even said in my video about Daniel Priestley, right? He was saying, "Oh, the taxation is a regime in Britain." I'm just like, I think these rich people should understand what a real regime looks like, you know?
Indeed.
But yeah, I think, but that's the point he's trying to say here somehow, that Jingye deliberately bought it to make it fail and shut down a strategic asset for geopolitical reasons. Is Jingye actually got any amounts of Chinese government ownership? It probably has a reasonable amount.
Possibly, yeah, I don't know.
But why would they want to lose money? Why would they want to lose money?
I suppose his idea would be the Chinese government wanted to weaken a geostrategic enemy, and so they were prepared to invest £1 billion to do so, or something. I don't know. It's just racist conspiracy garbage. So you're looking for some sort of rationale behind it. You don't really need to.
I think it's more Red Scare than race, but so basically same difference at this point. But they bought it in 2020. If their plan was to just make it fail, why has it not failed before now?
700 grand a day for 4 years. I don't honestly. If the Chinese government are pissing that kind of money away, I think that they don't need to. Again, the meme remains undefeated. Do nothing, win. They didn't need to do this to us. We're killing ourselves as it is.
That's an expensive long game to play, right?
Yeah, that's really weird. Like, because they don't own Port Talbot, and yet that's fucked as well. So, like, why did they need to? They didn't need to do this. If that was their plan. It didn't take the Chinese to destroy our industrial base. It took 10 years of Thatcher. And then, I suppose, 7 years of Major and a few years. Anyway, it's a bit more complicated. But basically, neoliberalism killed that. The Chinese didn't need to do anything. Just sit back and laugh, lads. Anyway.
You sure this isn't some mad conspiracy theory?
China wants to take the world over and dominate the world in every...
It is. It's just Red Scare. Oh... The Chinese under the bed. Brilliant.
That's the thing. China wanted to take over the world by shutting down our steel industry so we couldn't have the theme park.
Literally. They wanted to deny us the monorail. Those evil bastards. Oh, God.
Every way that it can. I have no doubt that Jingay were a bad actor from day one. I publicly said the Conservative Party should not have let them buy it. And here's the point. The reason that Grangemouth is closing, the reason I said before the break that all of our main industries are going, is because our energy costs are 5 times that. I mean, can you believe that? 5 times what they are in the USA. And this is because of the obsession of both our major parties and most of...
Net zero, nothing to do with marginal pricing. No. Just net zero. Shiny.
Privatization. Literally nothing to do with the privatization of the sector, including the fucking grid. Again, if you wanted to talk about bad actors and other countries owning our infrastructure, how about we discuss the energy companies? Shall we?
Yep. Well, yeah, you'd think so.
Should we talk about the other countries who do our energy supply that we pay money to, or the Canadian pension funds that own the grid that we pay a surcharge to? All of this stuff on top of our incredibly stupid system, because privatising the grid is literally the dumbest decision any government's ever made, ever.
Yeah. Another privatisation success story.
The view lot in mainstream media with achieving net zero. We are committing economic harry-carry. We have to produce our own gas. We have to produce our own oil, and
Wait a
indeed
minute.
produce our own...
Is Harry Carey the new striker for England?
Hey! Nicely done.
Doesn't he mean harakiri?
I think so, but like again...
And also, isn't it...
He's
also,
being
isn't that
racist
also,
towards people from East Asia. Why are you expecting any different?
And isn't the word he's also looking for seppuku, anyway?
I think so, but is... I don't know. It's basically... Well, I think we know what he means, but it's just weird. He could have just said suicide. I don't know.
But listen, we haven't got enough oil and gas to be self-sufficient. We could be self-sufficient in renewables and...
Wow, totally not fake laugh there, Nige.
But I mean, Preston is actually right there. We could be self-sufficient in renewables. The issue, of course, though, is that as soon as you have enough abundance of renewables, that you get to the point where in surge periods we wouldn't turn on the gas supplies. That's bad for the private owners of the renewables who are missing out on huge profits. So why would they invest to the level that we would need to get to for supply of renewables, that we could do entirely renewable energy, because that would lose them money? Why would they do it? Literally, because the privatization is the problem. Even if it's a public-private partnership, they will not invest if the capacity would get us above the point that we wouldn't need the marginal price of gas, because that's where they make their money. When the gas has a certain level of price, renewables make the same level, and because the renewables are cheaper than the gas production, they make a bigger profit. So they will not invest up to that point. We have to nationalise it.
Yeah. Apparently, seppuku is the formal term for harakiri.
Okay.
It's basically the same thing.
Okay.
If we made those investments, and the price of nuclear and the price of renewables would be a fraction of oil and gas.
Renewables don't exist without massive subsidy, and renewables have put up to 20...
Motherfucker, what are you doing with Scunthorpe nationalising it then? Is that not
£700,000 a day?
Yeah, that's a pretty significant. That's a pretty significant thing, isn't it? Like, that's a lot of money. And don't get me wrong.
And that's a subsidy. That's just a subsidy.
It is. It's absolutely directly a subsidy. Which, by the way, is genuinely one of the few Brexit benefits, is that we can do that now without having to pay fines to the EU for doing so. But anyway, regardless of that, yeah, you're literally planning on doing that right now. So you're talking fucking shit, mate. Yeah, subsidies have to happen, especially for new industries. Also, by the way, it's another way in which tariffs can work to protect new industries in your nation. But, you know, he's just a fucking fossil fuel gimp.
And it shows you that the entire basis of the steel nationalisation stuff is entirely performative. He doesn't believe a word of what he's saying, because it's all contradictory. He's just doing it for likes and clicks and to try and beat Labour at their own game.
Yeah.
Obviously, not at their own game, at the Labour Party's traditional game, of course. Keir Starmer isn't a Labour Prime Minister, he is the Starmer Prime Minister, because the Labour Party doesn't exist anymore, but you get my point.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But again, he's the only one who's actually making any kind of play to try and win support. Everyone else seems to be rather happy to piss away support.
20% on the bills of consumers over the last 2 decades, let alone what they've done to British industry, giving us the most expensive energy in the world. Renewables at this moment in time, without subsidy, don't work. And the more wind turbines we build, the higher our electricity costs go. Now, on nuclear...
Literally not true. Literally not true.
Literally, the increase of supply will put the price up, apparently.
Yeah, well done, Nige. Yeah, super.
Does someone want to explain the concept of the supply-demand curve to this Thatcherite, please?
True. Oh, God. Again, if there's one thing that capitalists don't understand, it's capitalism.
It's so true.
On nuclear, nuclear, fine. I'm with you in every sense. However, it takes many, many years to make it work. We have enough gas and enough oil, albeit dependent on the price, not just to be self-sufficient, but to be an
and we're going to have to
exporter.
disagree about this another time, annoyingly, because I've been told we're out of time. But we will definitely have a conversation again about this. And we've also got to have a conversation about the theory of comparative advantage, because if you're against tariffs, you should be against subsidies to companies like British Steel. But we'll come back to that another time.
So let's have cheap energy. Cheap energy, and then the formula works.
Nigel Farage, I'm going to come back to this with you another time. Believe me.
Honestly, I hate both of these humans.
But I mean, Peston is the one who is correct here. Like, Nigel Farage is a total gigantic hypocrite. And actually, for once, a journalist showed him up, questioned him on his completely irreconcilable positions, and he didn't have an answer for it.
This debate will go on. And thank you so much for joining us. Now, Gavin Barwell, I do want to ask you about the politics of this, not the economics, which is Nigel Farage plainly thinks that the politics are in favour of nationalising. Interesting that he's right of centre. Is he right about that?
I think he probably is on the narrow point of maintaining some steel and capacity.
Do you think it matters that we have?
Yeah, I think it does for national security reasons. Okay. I think in the world that we're living in now, and I think there's probably a cross-party consensus on that. Where he's wrong, as you just tried to pick him up at the end, is that whilst it's true that we've got a problem with the size of energy bills, the reason energy bills are so high in this country is because we're too dependent on gas, on the gas price. Anyone watching this programme, go and look at the Carbon Brief website. The electricity price in this country almost exactly correlates with the gas price.
Yeah.
We're too dependent on gas.
I mean, I don't know why. We just haven't got enough oil and gas in the North Sea, apart from anything else.
We've got to get off.
We've just got to get totally right. Now, listen, I'm going to come back to you
But neither
and
of
Anushka
them-
in a minute or two.
Yeah, but they're both missing the wood for the trees. I mentioned before that the energy companies refuse to build wind time, but sorry, I mentioned before that the wind. Fucking, I'll start that again. I mentioned before that the energy companies refuse to build any more wind turbines in Denmark because they have so many that it is not profitable for them to increase the supply. You need the state to step in to get a fully renewable grid to actually achieve net zero. Like, broadly, they're correct. The expensive energy is the gas energy. We are too reliant on it. But unless we find a way of doing this where profit motive isn't an incentive anymore, it won't happen, because otherwise the private companies won't make money anymore.
True. Maybe we can get the Danes to do some like Belt and Road and build us some shit.
Honestly, I'll take whoever at this point.
Yeah. Please, Denmark.
But I've now got to go to an interview I did a little bit earlier with somebody who used to work for Donald Trump.
I'll be honest with you. As funny as he is, and he can be quite humorous, I don't really care about the mooch, and it is midnight.
Should we take a little snippet of what they actually talked about? I don't know what the conversation, because there could be a very, very funny moment here.
Yeah, do you want to carry on?
But yeah, give it 5-10 minutes, right?
Okay.
If it's more boring than we expect, we can cut off.
Scaramucci. I did talk to him, I have to say, before Donald Trump blinked and postponed the implementation of these highest tariffs. The thing I started by talking to him about was something that has featured a lot in this programme, which is the way that in the last 24 hours, the cost for America's government of borrowing has soared.
The loss in global confidence in the American government is evident by the 10-year yield on the U.S. Treasury. So normally in a crisis, Robert, stocks go down, other risk-based.
Yeah, I honestly. Also, he's got fucking Keir Starmer's haircut, and I can't.
He has got Keir Starmer's haircut, hasn't he?
I can't.
Oh dear.
I don't want to look at it anymore. It annoys me. Anyway, so I think I'll probably leave it there. I reckon.
Thank you for bearing with us, chat, whilst I was in fucking hysterics. I stopped being able to make content because I was too busy laughing about the fucking theme park.
But it is very, very funny. And he's going to carry on. Honestly, he's going to be talking about this. This is his one big W. So he's just going to carry on with the fucking theme park based nonsense. It is true that seppuku was historically used by upper classes, but the term have distinct meanings. Harakiri refers specifically to cutting open the belly. Seppuku refers to the entire ritual, which is a kind of suicide. Oh, okay. Viv, with your fucking knowledge of things. Jesus.
Well, there you go. Thank you. I'm glad we have one weeb in chat.
I don't think. Well, they were of Japanese descent, so I don't. Do they count as a weeb, or is it just?
Oh, touche. I
diaspora?
didn't realise.
Yeah, I think.
In which case, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, you know.
Well, I mean, they're still a bit weeby, but like, but it's not cultural appropriation, so it's fine. I think is how it works. Anyway, should we see who's around? We can go over to Mad Cat, who's on Twitch, if you want to. I don't know who's going on YouTube because I don't think they stream.
I mean, no one's live on YouTube. I was thinking we should go into Jess Capricorn on Twitch because they've got 600 viewers and lots of very popular people in a big Discord call, and I think that would be a very easy way to farm clouds.
Who are we going over to? Jess
Capricorn.
I don't even fucking know that person.
I didn't before now today either, but I've seen like there's a panel they've got going with Caroline Kwan, Will Neff, and Austin Show, and both is live. So there's a load of actual real people there. So.
Oh wow, okay. Well, yeah, we'll go over there then, and they can.
Oh, apparently Mad Cat streams on YouTube.
Did I? Hang on. I don't see them. Mad Cat. Nah. I don't see you, Mad Cat.
Oh, the surfs are live on YouTube. I guess we'll go over into the surfs on YouTube's.
Yeah, fuck it. Okay, I'll do that then. And I'll be back tomorrow with Christo.
I think I might do an afternoon stream tomorrow, so I might see people for some bonus content then.
Cool. Okie doke. Everyone go and follow No Justice MTG on all of the platforms.
And everyone do likewise with KF Logan 1875.
Indeed. Free Palestine.
For the river to the sea. Goodbye.
Bye.